Hello, everybody. My name is Greedy, your host today, accompanied with Quantum. Welcome to the World Tour EU Regional Day number 2. Hopefully, you're all excited, as am I, and I hope you are excited as well, Quantum, for today.
I'm very excited, especially for our upcoming matchups for today. We already know what our first round will be, and we already know what we will be casting for the first round here. We will be casting Serotonin versus Ascent, and that's going to be very interesting.
Yes.
It was last regionals grand final, and we are seeing it in the quarterfinal this time around. So in the round of 8, right? And there's still 2 more rounds to go afterwards. So we're practically having a grand finals match to start off the day, but not in the grand finals.
Yes, that is true. And to already give you a peek of what we have to expect for us today, the quarterfinals are set up in a manner like this. The 8 teams that made it to here were Serotonin Events and Ascent, the match everybody's looking forward to as well. Glorious Esport versus Team Jail, Mint versus Evo Pink, and Project Blue Lock versus CC Mech Prod. So those are the teams that will be in today's quarterfinals looking to get to the semifinals. And information for all of you as well. All of these matches will be played simultaneously, and so will be the semifinals. So we will choose, of course, Serotonin Events and Ascent as our match to cast and to view from start to finish. But if we get the chance, we'll maybe hop on to some of the other matches, and same goes for the semi-final as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we'll. You never know if Serotonin Events and Ascent goes interestingly. Last time, at least, when they played, it was a 4-2 affair in the grand final, but it came down to the wire. It was a 10-9 on freestyle that gave Arthur Neer and Serrar the win over it. So we could possibly see a best of 7 also, yeah, a best of 7 for the entire day. Single elimination, and we could go to map deciders here already in the first match.
Well, just in the first match, but also in the other matches, right? You have Glorious Esports and Team Jail, Mint versus Evil Pink, and you have Project Blue versus CC Mech. So you have yourself a lot of good matchups up here today. And with what I've been seeing, this is gonna be such a big day for Trackmania. I have no idea who's gonna win this. I cannot look at any one team and say, "Oh yes, they're going to win. Oh yes, they're going to make it." I have no idea. I think all 8 of these teams have a good chance of making it to the grand final and swooping us off our feet.
Yeah, and definitely for sure. And also a bit of a fun fact as well. 7 out of the 8 teams in the playoffs are actually top 8 seeds as well. The only
Yes.
team that is not in the top 8 seed is actually Team Jail, who were 12 seeds. So definitely a very good performance for them. They will be facing Glorious Esport as well. So I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of supporters for the UK fans there, of course. It is Epos and Akroza there in the Team Jail team. So hopefully they can give a run for their money for the Glorious Esports. But of course, that is the long tail for today. As we keep mentioning this, there could be a chance that in the quarterfinals, the regional winner from last time could be already going out. And we could
Yes.
have a completely new era. Of course, Serotonin Events is looking for revenge. Simple as that. That's basically what it's gonna come down to.
Yeah, their revenge tour is coming back here. They're undefeated yesterday, so no maps lost. 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 on their way to the quarterfinals here. Obviously, Ascent, though, yesterday, they played up against Arctic Raptors, who nearly took them out. Last map, finished 10-9. That's just how close it needed to be, right? Just 1 point separating both of these teams in the end. That was a really intense match, and very luckily for Ascent, they made it through, because otherwise Arctic Raptors would be here otherwise, and that would be a completely different story, right? Last week's winner's not even here. That
Yes.
would be even crazier, honestly.
Yeah, and that pretty much defines the EU region. We've seen a lot of players say it as well, and you see it on Twitter as well. It's just a pure content as well. Of course, it can in some cases it can be a bit of a luck of the draw as well, who you will be facing. And some of the teams, of course, would like to get easier opponents as well. And you have the likes of, in this case, in the playoffs, we have Mint going against Evo Pink once again. So again, Evo Pink looking to get the redemption from the previous regional and hoping to beat Mint this time. So there's a lot of intermingling still, because a lot of those seeds still congregate together, and eventually you will might get some few of the same matchups as well. But we try to shuffle things around as much as possible. But eventually, you roll the dice, you might just get the same unfortunate ending. But ladies and gentlemen, we have kept you waiting on for too long. The game has gone to pick and bans. We are on the server and we can already see that Slowdown and Flip of Faith are banned. Gyroscope is open and immediately picked by the blue team. And we go to Agility Dash. We didn't even see it yesterday. Aero Pipes. God, this is already a different piece of pie from yesterday. Oh my
Man,
god.
yeah, this is huge. We've gotten Gyroscope, Agility Dash, and Arrow Pipes. This is everything we've wanted, right? And this is a best of 7. So Slippy Slides also will be played 100% if we need them, though. If this isn't a 4-0 for either team, we'll get reps 100%. And then the last map here to be picked by Ascent. Let's see what they pick. Will they pick back and forth, freestyle, or parkour? And then one map will be randomly chosen afterwards. So we will see 2 of these three maps. It's going to be freestyle that gets picked, and then back and forth will be our end decider if we so need it. And so our first 4 maps are going to be very interesting. We didn't see any of these yesterday. Gyroscope, Agility Dash, Arrow Pipes. This is what dreams are made of.
Oh, indeed. So, and imagine if we do get to the 7th map, it's back and forth. One of the more heavily contested maps as well, because there isn't much margin for error. If you go tied into the identity, you're gonna hope you're gonna get those tight lines and get through that identity well. Of course, you can make early mistakes as well, but back and forth definitely is one of those maps that you really don't want to have a decider on, because it's anybody's games. You really hope that it ends up being a map that is more in your favor, but let's be honest. These are the 2 finalists from last regionals. Their quality on all of these maps is exceptional, of course, as well. So I can only imagine how good they are on all of these maps. You can see it on the screen as well. Serotonin events Matus and Melio versus Ascent, Arthanir, and Zerar. Plenty of interesting things to come, and oh boy, of course, Gyroscope, our first starter as well.
All right, so
But it is a
Gyroscope to
warm up
start
at the
us off,
moment.
huh? Yeah, of course, of course. It is warm up. No casting the warm up. I'm not allowed to do that. I've been told to not do that. So let's get us going here. The first map between Matuz and Milio and Arthanir and Zerar. Man, what an interesting matchup. Hopefully, you betters have put your channel points on the line here, because here we go. Serotonin events versus Ascent. Melio currently in the lead. Zerar is in second, though Arthanir will go for the overtake. He gets overtaken. Both of them get overtaken, actually, by Matuz. Zerar has more speed, but he'll have to release as they head onto the ice now. And Melio and Matuz actually have quite the nice lead as Zerar slides out. Arthanir is in third, going overtake into second place, though. He will have more speed as he gets a more inside line. However, he doesn't go more outside on the dirt, will not have as much speed. Does not really matter. He goes wide off of the jump. Still ahead of Matuz, but he falls off and he'll slide out because of it. And so we will start off with an ace for Serotonin events.
Oh, very nice start to the 2 Frenchmen as well. They pick their map and they start off with an ace. That is a perfect way to start off the day. And we get to see that at least Arthanir and Serra did not have the best of the starts on the map as well. But we'll hopefully get a much more closer round this time around. So far, not big major mistakes. Of course, it started to slowly fall apart once we got to the ice side. But so far it's been relatively close, but we see Matuz already so far ahead, already gets a 2/10 lead over the rest of the field as everybody else is trying to catch up. Of course, for Ascent, it's a must Of course, for Ascent, it's a much scratch as once again. Oh, Arthur survives. He almost falls off, but it does give him a very tight line, but he is able to hold it still through. So let's take a point. Oh, and as soon as I say it, Zerard touches the wall, which means it's again up to Arthur to deny an ace. Melio is fighting. They go for the sideways strat. Oh, Melio gets it very nice, very speedy, but they're across the line. And it is 3,000ths of a second. Arthur denies the worst. It is a victory and a 5-1 scoreline, but oh boy, that was a close one.
Sub 55 there as well. That is a crazy time that we just saw. And Matuz and Melio are running away with this. 5-1 is the scoreline, and Ascent do not seem ready to be playing Gyroscope at the moment. Of course, it's not their pick, right? It's Serotonin's pick. But at the same time, if you're not going to ban a map, you better be ready to play it, especially in a best of 7, because you have only a 1 in 8 chance of it not to be played as we go into Ascent here, into Ascent's comeback maybe, as Melio clips into the wall. It is Matuz versus Zerar and Arthur at this point. However, Matuz once again in the lead, and he seems unfazed by the fact that it's a 2v1, even though they're right behind him. They're not behind him by much either, as Matuz goes in with the risky approach as he always does. Let's see if he will full grip, and he does. And this looks to be another good time. It is another 54.9. This time even faster than the last one. Oh my goodness.
Matus is absolutely on fire. People, the rest of the team, start taking notes if you can. Like Pipo G, Noten as well. Matus absolutely on fire on this map. He's been so consistent at the moment, and nobody's able to catch him. Very clean line on the slide as well in the identity. Goes for the risky side, makes it look effortless as well. And this is the level that you need to be at if you want to even have a chance to get into the playoffs, let alone win a regional. And Melio and Matus are really showing it as well. And we get to see that Arthur is in the mix once again, but we see Melio sliding out, which again leaves the end game boss Matus to be beaten. But again, he's 3/10 ahead, just making it look like a nice Sunday drive for him at the moment. I'm sure he's just having a nice time. Maybe he's listening to some music, but here we go. Identity again. No mistakes whatsoever by him. And he gets a 55.4. It's a bit slow by his standard, but it's a draw still. He holds the line 7-3, and it's the final boss at the moment. Unless Matus makes a mistake, I don't see how Ascent are gonna beat him on this map.
Yeah, this is definitely Matuz's map, and he seems pretty consistent on it. But Melio as well, he was pretty good in the first 2 rounds. Let's see if he can come back after those 2 mistakes in a row here. If he can get a clean round together. Arthur and Zerar are also getting pretty clean laps, right? No big mistakes out of them. It's just that they've not got the pace that Matuz has. They don't have the pace even that Melio has, I would think, right? It's pretty close as, oh, that's a mistake. Out of Zerar, they find themselves completely out of it, and that could be the ace that Serotonin events are looking for to put this one away right and early. Round number 5, it could be a 10-3 finish here if neither of Serotonin's players here makes a mistake. Matuz, Melio, through. Oh no! That's Matuz who makes a mistake in the identity, and he was well ahead of Melio. And Melio did a 55.1. Oh my goodness. And oh, here comes Zerar. He's going to draw the round. Matuz could have come in and could have at least made it 9-4 rather than 8-4. Ascent now have a good chance. An ace here, they come back, but how likely is another Matuz's mistake?
Yeah, I feel like he could have done a standstill respawn there, unless I haven't tested that standstill respawn. Maybe it just spawns you under the map, but I highly doubt it. But it is a case to be made as Matuz makes another mistake, and this is now becoming very awkward indeed. As we just praise Matuz for his consistency, Ascent are now just saying, okay, you did that. But if you're just gonna throw it away, we might as well just pick up the pieces and get our ace of our own. And now that 8-4 lead might become an 8-7 unless Melio somehow denies, but he's almost a second behind. So it only can be caught up if Arthur or Zerar make any mistake. So again, they were so can Ascent do better than Serotonin Events when they were two in front, and indeed they can in unison 55.7 and ace for them as well. And what looked like a very comfortable map for Serotonin Events is only one ace away for becoming a track point for Ascent.
Yes, and that's what's crazy, right? Is that now Serotonin events have opened the door wide open. Ascent are back in this one, and of course they're doing they're averaging like 55 sevens, 55 eights, right? Those are not bad times whatsoever. But it's just that Matuz and Melio are really treating us to some amazing driving here on this map. But that speed comes at a cost of risking a bit more than the others, and because of that, since you're risking a bit more, you run the risk of running off of your line. You run the risk of sliding out like Arthur just has. You run the risk of what Melio just did. Where are you going, my friend? As Matuz leads the way, but Zerar is in second place, and he's right behind them by 3/4 of a second, but still right behind in case Matuz here makes any kind of mistake, but it does not look like it, and it's going to be a 55-5 out of Matuz. Zerar just behind Melio. He's not respawned. What's Melio done here?
I do hope it's no issues at the moment, of course, from his end, but he is under the currently there as well. Maybe controller died at the moment. It could have been a possibility as well. Hopefully, we will get a bit of a regulation for that as well,
No,
as we do
yes.
see that Melio is on the starting block at the moment as well. We might skip as well. Yes, it is a pause, so we will quickly go back to our point of view as well, just to hopefully that will be sorted as well. We'll just have to wait. But in the meantime, well, it is a 9-8 scoreline. So anybody's game, basically, there. If Serotonin Events gets a draw, it's nice. But if it's a victory for Ascent, we are going into overtime on the first map already.
Yeah, and this is not a map where I expected any kind of overtime or win for Ascent, especially off of the start, right? Strong start, 5-1 lead for Serotonin, and that's where we just thought it would end, right? Their map pick, they're looking strong, right? They're gonna put this one away with a 10-3, right, in the 5th round, and then suddenly it becomes the opposite, right? Now it's really close to being an Ascent win. All they need to do, right, is to win or ace, and they have it in the bag. However, any draw, any loss, any ace against them, right, they've lost the map as well. So that comeback would be all for Nye. And so at this point, they need to make sure that they are in the groove, in the zone. As we resume for the game, get me back in there, my guy, because we've got one more round left to play, unless we go to overtime. As Matuz and Melio will try to put away Gyroscope before Ascent can steal away the first map pick from Serotonin. As Matuz slams into the wall, that's a big mistake there, and Zerar Narthanir will take full advantage of this. Melio's fallen behind both of them as well, and he's fallen way behind. He's not behind by too much anymore, but still 2/10 is a big thing to come back from. Can he do it as they go onto the ice? He's going to start off wide, go more inside afterwards. It's going to get him more speed, but a bigger chance of sliding out, and well, he'll overtake one, but he can't overtake Arthur either. He's got more speed out of the exit, and look at him going a bit wider on the dirt. His jump here is looking better. He's taken the lead, but he's gone too wide, and so it's taken back by Arthur, who's getting the best ending, and it's going to be Arthur. What about Zerar? They've tied the game. They've tied the game. We're in overtime, baby.
Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't even gone back past map number 1, and the old grand final is proving to be a spicy one. First overtime we see, and if my memory is right, this is the first overtime we actually see on screen as well. 10-10 the scoreline, and now there is pretty much a sudden death. A draw can perhaps keep you alive, but you're looking for that ace or a win or a victory at minimum, as we see currently Zerar is falling behind, and Arthur is close by as well. Fallen a bit behind, but usually his ice is a lot better than the rest as well, so he usually gets a bit closer. But Melio and Matuz are just saying like, yes, you got your overtime, very cute indeed, but we're just coming to Arthur with a tight line. but it costs him a bit more speed. So let's see, can Matus and Melio already put the nail in the coffin for this map and make a hard map fought, finish off with an ace? And indeed they can. A quality round for them. Cool, calm, and collected, and that's how you want to finish an overtime. 13-10, the map for Serotonin Events.
Yeah, Serotonin Events. Here's the thing, right? They had more pace on this map, that's for sure. They showed a lot more pace, but their consistency just wasn't there compared to Ascent, right? So Ascent nearly steals their map pick just due to consistency issues, and that is not worth the pace advantage, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're crashing half the time, that's just opening the door wide open. And teams as good as Ascent, right? They will capitalize on your mistakes. You need to mitigate your mistakes as we go on to a sense map pick now of Agility Dash. Now, this is a map that we did not see at all yesterday on the stream. Will we see clean rounds here? I doubt we do, but it is Agility Dash, and that's why I doubt it. But it is Agility Dash, so I'm expecting close rounds.
Yeah, well, Air France is selling hot tickets for the show, so hopefully nobody flies out in the Identity, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. It is a long map. Agility Dash, of course, is significantly longer than the other maps as well. So it is a slightly bit of an endurance race as well. Consistency does help on this map quite a bit. Of course, you always want to be fast. I mean, you know, to win, you gotta be fast, but consistency helps quite a bit on this map. But that Identity has been a big question mark for a lot of people. Some do take it a lot safer, but it's so easy to clip there. As we go for the SD, no SD for Melio there. I think if you were from Evo, he wouldn't get an invite to that team, that's for sure. So no SD on that one, but let's see how we go on the rest of the track. Melio's POV at the moment, everybody's very close indeed, so it shows that the endurance is there, but it's looming. You already see a bit of a glimpse. Oh, Matus gets a bit of airtime, and as soon as I say that, we see Ascent being 1 and 2, but Arthur clips, so he gets a bit of a slowdown as well. So Melio's POV is still where we sit at. Agility Dash jumps, and here we go. Let's go to Arthur here. Any flyouts? No, everybody gets it clean, and they keep the victory for themselves. Wow, words for themselves still. And that's how it is. A victory for Ascent, and the next round goes.
Yes, the next round starts off very cleanly, honestly. Very clean lap last time around, up until the ending, right? And then you had that Matus airtime, right? Then you had Arthur clipping the block, and honestly, all in all, right, for a round of Agility Dash, that was pretty clean, all things considered, as that's Zerar into the wall. He's behind by 3 whole seconds, and he's going to be a non-factor unless more big mistakes happen here. But if we have a round similar to the last one, he'll just be coming in last, as he's now 4 seconds behind. Matus in the lead by over 0.2 of a second. Melio just in behind as we go into the full speed section. Any speed drifts? No. None to be had as Matus in the lead. Arthur in second. He does catch up by a little bit, but not there just yet. Trying to go for the overtake, but cannot find the gap to go through, and he clips. He'll hit the checkpoint, and he is completely out, and he'll hit the wall just as an extra measure on top of it. So Matus and Melio have it in the bag here unless they throw it away. As Matus and Melio, let's see what they do here in the Identity. Matus goes in first, Melio in second, and they'll land it perfectly through the first checkpoint and then through as well to the finish. Very well done by Melio and Matus. No mistakes whatsoever, and that's what you like to see if you're a Serotonin fan. However, Ascent are now losing by 2 on their own map pick.
Yeah, and we see definitely that the pace is there for both of the teams, and but at the moment the little mistakes now are starting to slowly compound together as well. You really want to avoid making mistakes. Again, it sounds like we're stating the obvious, and it is definitely not easier said than done. There's so many little things you can just clip. There's so many little things you can just get either a nose slide, or you can just hit something that you didn't even think you could possibly hit or clip on, and you slow down. As we find ourselves on Zerar point of view, he probably didn't make any mistakes, but slightly bit of offlines in and there, and he's already 2 tenths behind. But he does provide us with a very lovely POV. Hopefully we get to see some interesting lines as well. Hopefully we get to see some good speed as well. He goes for the nose slide as well. Come on. I think Evo needs to give some SD lessons here. They need to. That extra speed is worth there. And Arthur here touches the wall as well. That is the worst case scenario. Ascent are now crumbling on their map pick. But again, we gotta remind ourselves Gyroscope started off strong for Serotonin events as well, but then they started to fall apart as well. So it's definitely not over, but it would be very good for Zerar to deny Matus and Melio here. But they look strong together here, and they have been quite unfazed in the agility dance identity. So let's see if they can do it as well. Zerar is pushing it. Zerar is pushing it, but can he get it? But not quite. 37 thousandths of a second was almost there. And we see everybody finishes under 123. A sub time, no mistakes. So it all came down to just a few things on the early map to decide the fate of the game. And 7-2 for Serotonin events.
Yeah, Serotonin here looking pretty strong. All things considered, they have more pace, right? The thing with Ascent here is, again, they lack the pace. Let's see if they can up it, because honestly, Serotonin are just going to run away with this one. They're not making mistakes. They've got the consistency on this map. And so at this point in time, if you're Ascent, you need to ace while Matuz and Melio don't make mistakes. And Arthanir is not in that position right now. He's behind by 2/10, and Zero gets overtaken as well by Melio and Matuz as we head into the full speed section. Let's see if anyone can get some nice SDs. And, you know, they're not the greatest things in the world, but Melio and Matuz do lose a bit of time over Ascent here. But yeah, it's still not close enough. They need to get ahead, and right now they're not ahead. Going into the poll is not getting ahead of Serotonin events, as right now they're once more in ace position. Could they ace for the third time in a row here, as Matuz leads the way side by side as Melio and Zerar, as Zerar takes the lead. He risked this time around. He lands so early, but the clip will cost him speed. He'll go for the full risk. He cannot catch up from the early mistake in the identity, and Arthanir is unable to even finish this identity at this point. 7-2, more like 10-2 on your own map pick. My goodness, Ascent have gone from the winners of the last regional to down 2-0 after losing their own map pick.
Yeah, and pray to God we're not gonna have a continuation of Challenger where we saw 4-0 sweeps across the board. Come on, we were the budget allows for a best of 7. We want our money's worth. The 7 maps are gonna happen. I have a script here. We're gonna get the 7 maps. I believe it. I have faith in it, and Ascent have every bit of skill to do so. You can see it as well, but it just hasn't started off as they have expected. But ladies and gentlemen, we always have a good appetizer, the palate cleanser, the map that doesn't sometimes just looks like you don't even need the skill, and the draw of the cards or the roll of the dice is what you need to just win in the end. So let's see how this round goes. We are gonna go to the point of view of Matus here, as he has been a very strong. To be honest, Matus has been absolutely solid throughout this game. It has been the rest. Matus has definitely been the one of the outstanding players as well, and I hope to see Arthanir here as well. On every map, he seems to be falling a bit behind, but at the moment, everybody's knit very tightly together, but not with a good recovery from the ice slide onto the reactor booster, and now touching the wall as well. And again, it puts Zebrar in a position where he has to deny an ace again. And currently, at the moment, Matus and Melio, they look synchronized as well. It's a good. It's like synchronized winning. This is something that was a good point that I heard from the APEC region as well. It looks like synchronized swimming. They look like they go in unison from left, right. It looks so mesmerizing to watch. But let's see if it's gonna happen the same way on Aero Pipes as we are going into the Identity Zerar's point of view. And Matus touches, and Melio gets a slowdown, and Zerar gets it clean. Where is Arthanir? Almost overtaking Melio. It's a victory for Ascent, and the equalizer, that is the Aero Pipes identity, comes into play from an ace throw to Serotonin events to a victory for Ascent. Ladies and gentlemen, Aero Pipes.
Yep, and that's how Air Pipes goes sometimes, but man, that's scary. Again, Melio and Matuz, like, just look at that pace, right? they are ahead by quite a large margin. This is the third map in a row now where we could say, yeah, Melio and Matuz have the pace advantage over Zerar and Arthanir. They're going to need to start risking a lot more here, right? I think for Ascent to really make it through, even with a mistake here from Matuz, they're going to need to be faster, right? Now, Matuz is going to be behind by quite a large margin, but again, last time around, there were big mistakes on the identity, so we could see the same thing happening to Ascent here as Melio in the lead keeps it over Arthanir. It is 150 milliseconds, but that grows to 210 milliseconds as Melio goes through a little bit more inside than you'd like as Arthanir tries to grab as much speed as he can, and look at that. He's going to catch up just a little bit on Melio as we go through the engine off block, and now Melio into the jump. He'll land it nicely. He will not get a slowdown. Second one, he was a little bit low, but he still made it work. Melio wins the round, but Arthanir and Zerar, no mistakes out of them. We got ourselves a draw.
Yeah, a very good round this time around. No major mistakes. A bit of a wobbly landings here and there, but you know, as long as you get across the finish line, that is what matters. Hopefully, we don't have a case where yesterday where we saw, I do believe it was Shofi, where in the last moments as well he hit the finish block as well. I had nightmares about that one. That was a heartbreaker. I hope he or she is having a better time today and perhaps even enjoying the EU regional today as well. But hopefully this isn't gonna happen to our contestants today here. So let's see how it goes. And for something different, we see Ascent taking the lead of the race. Not something you see quite often, but they are basically next to each other, neck and neck. There's nothing really separating them. They keep switching, but as soon as I say that, Arthur clips on the inside and allows again a familiar sight for Zerar. He only sees the blue of the other cars if he has cars on, but he's trying to catch up. He's relatively close, and I have a flashback of round one. What did happen? Melio got a slowdown, and Matus got a clip. Does it happen again? Zerar looking to deny again. Nobody gets a slowdown this time. They're neck and neck. It's gonna be the closest round of aero pipes, and as soon as I say that, everybody dies. Melio gets over the line. Matus as well, but they had such a bad second pipe that allows Zerar to deny them and get a draw out of it. Oh, Zerar, it's just he sees them in front of them and he somehow manages to curse both of them. I don't know how he does it, but he seems to have some secret sauce there.
You know what I think the secret sauce is? These two players on Ascent, right, Zerar and Arthanir, are extremely well skilled on these identities. They look like they have a pace advantage on the identities. They risk it a lot more as Zerar makes the mistake early on, and Arthanir will take the lead as Melio slides out. Now it's a 1v1 between Arthanir and Matuz. The thing is that the identity isn't the only part of the map that matters, right? There is a whole minute of map that happens before the identity for most of them. And at that point, you're behind by half a second, right? You're not going to catch up by half a second in most cases, right? Of course, arrow pipes, you can catch up if you risk a little bit more, but not by half a second unless the other team makes a mistake. And when you push them that hard, well, yeah, mistakes are bound to happen, even for Ascent. As we head onto it now, Matuz gets the first jump here. He's going to land it nicely, but he's going to be a little bit slower than Arthanir, and he goes way too high, way too wide. He falls off, and Zerar's going to get the ace alongside his teammate. I mean, they've got that identity down pat, but man, do they not have the speed throughout the rest of the map.
I mean, arrow pipes take it, arrow pipes give it. Both of them got the slowdown, but at the end, one of them was able to land on the pipe eventually, and that is what arrow pipes is. It's just you do hope that you don't get a mistake, as we see an early mistake. I do believe that was Matus making a mistake. So it now, after all of what we've said, Ascent find themselves constantly behind with Melio and Matus in front, but now they have a chance with an ace actually take their first track point, as Arthanir has a very dreadful ice section but still keeps it alive, but now he's going to probably fall back to a second in to the guys in front. So Zerar and Melio once again a 1v1 this time. So let's see, Zerar not getting the best of lines, allowing Melio to increase that gap almost half a second of a lead. But you just said everything what has to be said about arrow pipes. You cannot catch that gap up anywhere else apart from the identity. So you, in some sense, you really are hoping that somebody gets a slowdown or somebody just doesn't land on the pipe. So here we go again. Zerar's point of view, how do we go? Melio lands it, Zerar lands it. Melio gets it clean and does come across the line. And where is Arthonir? Also coming in through a very clean round. And Matus also in fourth. It's a draw for this round. And now 2 points away from a track point for Ascent.
And this is Serotonin Events map pick, right? So this would be Ascent stealing away Serotonin's map pick, just like Serotonin stole Agility Dash, right? So at this point in time, right, if you are Serotonin, you need to come back like Ascent tried to do on the first track. At this point in time, you need to show that pace actually matters, right? Because of course, pace is nice and all, but you need to be able to get the identity down pat, and you need that consistency. And I think that's the biggest issue for Serotonin, is the consistency, as Ascent trying to put this one away. But Zerar is the only one really fighting for the lead, and he's behind by a third of a second on Matus, and he in fact gets overtaken by Melio, but he clips it to the wall, and so he'll fall down to the third place. And Arthonir is behind by a little bit too far to really make a difference, as Matus leads by over half a second on Zerar. But it doesn't matter as we lead onto the identity. It all comes down to this. If you're Matus and he lands it, he's got that slowdown. He'll fall down behind, and he'll get overtaken by not just Zerar, but his teammate as well. At least it's a draw, keeping them at a 4-point disadvantage. But they're still alive. If they ace this next round, which they must do, it'll be 8-9 in the favor of Ascent, but they must ace.
Yeah, but we've seen constantly that arrow pipes, a lot of people have picked it as well, but it has been a common thing as well that when arrow pipes does come around, it might be your pick, but you might drive it perfectly. But if that identity just doesn't like you today, you're gonna have a bad day, because you can drive the rest of the map completely perfect as well, but the arrow pipes, in my opinion, is one of the least forgiving identities as well. Not because you are doing something wrong, because the map is just like, you know what? Screw you. I don't really want you to finish first, so I'm just gonna give you a slowdown. So it's a lot of, in this case, the identity is a very cruel mistress in this case, but we have a round where everybody is together, and this is the round where Ascent only need 1 point to secure themselves their first track point, as everybody's going. Melio needs to push, they need the ace. Everybody's going neck and neck into the identity. What do we get for this time? Everybody gets it clean, so it's a line to the race. Zerar falls off, but Arthonir keeps the dream alive. It's only less than 2/10 separating the top three, but as Arthonir does just enough to give them a track point with a 10-7 scoreline.
Yeah, that is what they needed. All they needed was a first or second place, and that second place will be more than enough to put them through. That was a close round, though. Really, really close round. Only separated by 2/10 from the top three there. And had there not been a mistake on the identity, I think all 4 players would have been inside of it. So at this point in time, we finally got to see a close round on arrow pipes, and immediately go to Slippy Slides, which well, this is a sense map pick. We could see ourselves be tied 2-2 at this point, because Arthonir and Zerar, well, as I said before, right, their fortes are the identities. Let's see if this identity is one of them, as Serotonin and Ascent go back to dueling. Serotonin still up, but it's only 2-1 now rather than 2-0. Their lead has been cut in half as Arthonir starts off strong. Melio, though, will take over from last place to second, as Matus will take over from the lead as Zerar falls down to last place. He'll overtake Matus for the last podium position. And now we're all switching back and forth. But Matus, with a small mistake, he's behind the lead by a quarter of a second. Arthonir in that lead. Melio's trying to catch back up. Zerar is in third. Zerar going for the overtake, can't do so as Matus goes real wide. He'll lose so much time and speed, and he'll be down by about a second on the others here as Arthonir holds his lead and going just as inside. In fact, Arthonir lands it so early, Zerar hits it as well. Melio lands it a little bit too late, and that's what costs him, and he hits the cone. And so as we go on to the identity here, we have ourselves a wonderful bug slide and a second wonderful bug slide as we go through into the finish. It's an ace for Ascent. and Matuz and Melio are left scratching their heads.
Yeah, and that is a 106 by both of the players. That is a good rounds times as well, and they made it look effortless as well. But the cone from parkour has made itself to Slippy Slides. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully it's the only incident we have with the cone, but we have to wait and see if there's any other surprises to come as well. Definitely Ascent showing really good pace on the map, but Arsen here having a really awkward line. He probably will lose a 10th here because he has to go really wide to compensate for that as well. So here we go. Going to the inside as well. The start, it's very easy to lose a bit of time as well here as we see Serotonin Events getting a bit of a lead here. There are two different ways to take that third as well. You can go for the inside line to mitigate the airtime or go for the wider approach. One is a bit safer than the other. Currently, Serotonin Events good lead. Matus goes a bit wider. He will lose a bit of speed, allowing Zera and Arthanir to close the gap, and Arthanir even overtakes. So Zerar is a good point of view for us as well. Let's see how the first box line is. Very nice and clean, and we see that Ascent goes for the tighter line, and it is paying off. And Matus is slightly behind, but he's able to keep the gear. We see some people going across the water, so everybody's going into the identity. So let's see. But as soon as I say that, Zerar slides out. But it is something that where Arthanir comes close. Holy ma, that's a close round. Arthanir does deny the Serotonin boys, but it only was less than 2/10 again between the top three. But it is a 1-4 still for Ascent.
The difference, it really is that Arthanir went wide on that second approach to the identity there. And that is really rough because he lost a lot of time, and he's really confident in himself and really happy that he won that one because, man, Matuz and Melio kept up this time around, and they were really close. But yeah, there's an advantage here for Ascent for sure. There is the pace advantage that I've wanted to see as well. So, well, here comes Ascent, right? They could come back easily here into this game. However, if Serotonin can steal this one, that would be even more impressive, as Melio's actually on a heater of a time right now. Arthanir is behind. Matuz is in third, and Zerar is in fourth. But Melio, it won't matter unless he lands this early, and he won't, because look at Arthanir. He's just caught up by over 3/10, make that 4/10 actually, as he took the lead from Melio. And now Arthanir keeps that lead, and there goes Melio up into the air. He flies off, and Zerar takes second place away from Matuz. But Matuz has more speed. The more inside line from Zerar won't matter because Matuz will win get second place. Melio gets fourth, and so at least it's damage control from Matuz. But man, Arthanir once again with a good time.
Yeah, and that is something again, despair moment. That hole is deceivingly gotten a lot more victims than we care to admit. A lot of people have found themselves in that pot of hole. There's no gold down there, I can admit. A map win is not down there. There's no hidden finish there. Can confirm this. I've done that myself as well on that map. It looks easily avoidable, but if you want to go for the most optimal lines there, you really want to get close to that hole there, and it's not really. It's easier to hit than it is to miss, and if you really want to get every little tenth out of the map, especially when you're going up against these teams, as we see Melio making a huge mistake, slides out after the grass section, so it allows now Ascent to take a commanding lead and only Matus to deny them. Matus gets a really good landing, but we see Arthanir and Zerar absolutely bossing the first line here, and one of them, Zerar slides out on the water, which allows now for Matus and Melio, and Arthanir is completely out because he slides out. So now it's just turned from a beautiful ace from Ascent to an ace for Serotonin Events. And all of that lead that they accumulated is just now fingers snapped like Thanos, completely gone. It's only 1 point differentiating between the two teams.
Man, this gives me flashbacks of Gyroscope, right? 4-point lead. Where have I seen that before? An ace to come back down only by one. Where have I seen that before? Pace advantage for one team now in trouble. Yeah, I have seen this one before. Make this a Hollywood movie, man. As Serotonin's trying to come back and take this one away. Will they actually do it, unlike Ascent did on Gyroscope, though? As right now, Melio is in fourth place, but looking to take the lead as he actually could. but he's still all the way in last place. It's not by much, but he's not going to stay last for long as he's gotten up ahead of Arthur, who's made a massive mistake, and ahead of Zerar as well. It comes down to this bug slide here, and it's perfect from Zerar, but he can't get ahead of Matuz. Not Melio, my bad. Not just yet as we head onto the water here. And it's perfect from Zerar and Melio. A little bit slow by Matuz, but it's fine because Arthur is way farther behind as Zerar and Melio fight for this win. And it's going to be Melio and Matuz. They've tied the game. It's 7-7.
Yeah, lucky number for some, but not something you want to see as a Ascent point of view. You would have, by this point, I feel like they were looking to think that they would be already at 9 or perhaps even 10 points to secure their track point. But now they find themselves in a position where they have to fight for the track point, and they cannot, neither team can allow for the other to ace, because that is going to be the track point for the other team. So anything but an ace will keep us going for one more round. But we've seen quite a few aces on this map, more than you usually would see. So definitely something to keep in mind as we go on to the next sections of the map. Currently going to the grand section, trying to go for the cancel here. Quick snap. Make sure you get it as soon as possible so you can start accelerating at a tight line. Arthur is in a good commanding lead at the moment, and it's currently an assessed sandwich between Serotonin events, being the bun in between. So let's see how we go. Zerar finding himself even more behind. So it now is up to Arthur to deny them. Melia goes over the water, so did Arthur. Buck slides, here we go. First one goes very nicely, but we see Arthur going for the inside line, hoping to get to the finish line relatively quickly. And he does indeed so. It is a draw for the round with a 106.5. Almost everybody apart from Zerar gets a below 107 time, and we keep the 8-8 scoreline, and we could be here for a bit of a while unless some team decides to win it this round.
Yeah, because now at this point, any round win or ace wins you the game, wins you the track, I should say, as, well, 8-8. I mean, any round win gives you 2 points, so anything other than a draw would result in a victory or a loss. So at this point in time, you must draw if you want to keep the game going, especially if one of your teammates makes a mistake, as Melio in the lead. Matuz is just behind Arthur, and Zerar has made himself that mistake. So if you're Arthur now, you need to win the round again. Let's see if he can do that. He's behind Melio, though, by nearly a quarter of a second. Let's see if he can catch up here on this bug slide, and indeed he can. Not completely, but he's still there, and he's still closing in. He's getting closer and closer. Could take the lead over this water. In fact, he does. Let's see in this identity. Matuz makes a mistake. So does Zerar. So does Arthur. What's happened here? Who's going to win this one? It should be Melio. He does. Zerar gets second. Arthur. No, he doesn't come in third. And so Matuz wins it out. And Serotonin Events keeps it together. Oh my goodness gracious. Another map stolen by Serotonin Events. Oh no, down by 4, and Ascent let this one go. No clutch factor today on that 4th map, and now they're looking at the barrel. Oh my goodness gracious, that bullet could be coming in fast.
Yeah, but we have to keep in mind Ascent went the distance, of course, with their match against Arctic Raptors as well, so they should be familiar with this position. And now the mental game, they have to reverse sweep basically to win against Serotonin Events, or otherwise we will be seeing the regional winner go out in the quarterfinals, and Serotonin Events will get the sweet taste of revenge that they were so looking forward to. But in this case, we see Melio makes already an early mistake. So now we get to see if Ascent can capitalize on it already early on. Reps, of course, is a very technically minded map. So it's very, well, I say this, it's very hard to make a mistake. There are a lot of techniques here that allow you to go very tight, very close to the edges of the map, so they're very easy to clip or just touch a wall without even trying to go for it as well. So we have to see, of course, here you want to go set up slightly wider to get the inside line, to get as much speed as possible as you go for the loop here. Now we go to the section with the grass. You want to take a bit of penalty grass, of course, to slow you down, just so you can get a nice smooth transition down, but we see Matus at the front. The end game boss is once again up at front as Zerar gets a bit of a slowdown, but he's able to continue. But Melio, you just saw a glimpse of Melio, but he also clipped, and he would have been able to deny the draw and get a victory, but you just saw him right there in the corner of the screen. But Reps, again, one of those maps where you just, one wheel can just touch the wrong side, and it just now becomes a draw.
Yeah, because if you are Melio there, right, you're in 4th place, you need to push, right? And on this identity, you can push a lot. You can gain a lot on this identity just by pushing a little bit. And, well, when you push that little bit, you run the risk of running off the track, and that's what Melio did there. But he was behind by so much, he was able to catch up by quite a lot, and so it was worth it in the end, but it didn't change anything, as that's Arthur completely out, hitting himself right into the barrier there. So Matus in the lead, and he's got no competition at this point. Quarter of a second to everyone in behind. Melio and Zerar trying to keep up, but man, a quarter of a second is a lot to catch up unless you want to completely risk it. But you are in 2nd place if you're Zerar. You don't want to necessarily make that mistake, and he clips before he even gets to the first jump or the next drift afterwards. Man, this goes from what could have been a tighter round to a complete and dominant ace.
Oh no, it's becoming the worst nightmare you could possibly conceive for Ascent. The match where they won against Serotonin Events, of course, was a nail biter as well, but at the moment they're just not getting the identities. I feel like the rest of the map is actually not looking so bad for them, but when it comes closer to the identity, that's where the little mistakes start to happen. And of course, we had the crash from Arthur and Melio Matu seem to just make less of those mistakes, and we see it. But as soon as, of course, I say that, your casters insert that as well. Melio has a bit of a clip, and we have a 2v2 on our hands. Artanier and Matus up front, Melio and Zerar in the back, not too far behind, half a second separating the two groups here, but we still have a good point of view of everybody at the moment. Currently, we are in a draw position, so currently another sandwich being prepared, but this time it is the other way around. So let's see how we get the outcome. Currently, everybody's getting it clean, so it is, unless any mistakes happen here on the grass, we are going to have another round where it's going to be decided in the identity. Melio gets a bit of airtime, so he's going to slow down. So let's see, any clips on the identity so far? Everybody gets it clean, very well done, but can anybody push a bit more? Arthur and Melio both make a mistake. Who gets the better respawn? Oh, Arthur actually finishes. I thought he actually fell off. It looked to me he was completely gone, but he probably was able to just barely get on the platform again and still finish, so it still ends up being a draw. So a good save from Arthur, but that could have been a lot worse than initially proclaimed.
Yeah, a lot worse, that's for sure. If Melio just drove that quietly again, right? That's an extra point. And, man, if you're Melio, poor Melio here lost 2 points for his team so far on this map alone, but because he's in last, right? You need to push it when you're in last, and that is something that I would not be mad about if I'm the teammate here, trying to tell my teammate, all right, just push it, right? Just put the pedal to the metal, try to get it through, and, well, that's exactly what Melio's been trying, but he clips that identity a couple times too many, and, well, when you're pushing hard, that's what's expected out of you. As Matus is in the lead, Zerar is in 2nd place, trying to overtake him through the looping, but Matus has slightly more speed. Melio in 3rd place, trying to catch up. In fact, he does by quite a large margin, and he could even go for this 2nd place here, as that's a mistake out of Matus, allowing Zerar to get the lead. And Melio, look at this, how much he pushes. In fact, he nearly took the lead, but Matus keeps it just ahead of him, and Serotonin Events are 2 points away from winning this game. My goodness gracious, Ascent could be the team up 3-1 at this moment, right? They let Gyroscope go. They let Agility Dash go. They could have 4-0'd. They really could have 4-0'd, but man, Serotonin Events have come in today with a vengeance.
Yeah, they are clearly in the mindset today is gonna be a different day. Different regional. Arsenal are making an early mistake, and it's slowly. I think the slow feeling is sinking in as well. You see the scoreline well as a player, and those are the moments where you understand we have to give absolutely our best. And if we falter once, it's game over. And we see Arthur already in 4th place. And Matus and Melio are giving us a show worthy of possible champions, of course, of the region. They were finalists for a reason, and they're showing why they deserve the win in the first place. As Serrar makes a mistake, the pressure is there. If Melio Matus doesn't make any mistakes, they have it. They are in front, and everybody you get to see, Zerar even knows himself. Congratulations to Melio Matus. GG to them. They take the ace, they take the win, and the regional winner from the first one is out in the quarterfinals already, which means this regional will have a new winner. No matter what happens, we will be crowning a new winner at the end of the regional, and that is something that everybody was looking forward to as well. I know, of course, Ascent wanted to go through and everything, but I feel like everybody was like, okay, will Ascent go through? Will they be able to defend the title? The answer is no. That won't be happening.
And they nearly got out yesterday, right? In top 16, they nearly lost to Arctic Raptors. And that's when I told myself, maybe they're not looking so hot, right? And at the start of this game, they just did not look in it, right?
Yeah.
Compared to last week they cruised their way to the grand final. This time around, they've been struggling. And as I said, right, they didn't have the pace, right? It did not look like they had the pace compared to other teams. Let's go into another game here, and a game that we expected to go all 7 maps didn't, but here's another one. Project Blue Lock up against CC Mech are starting map number 7 here, and it's starting off with a round win for CC Mech. They're up 2-1 here on the final map. 100% this is the final map. It is 3-3 in terms of the tracks, and we are once again on reps. What a decider this is.
Yeah, well, we happen to find ourselves on reps, but this time, instead of being a decider for a 4-1 scoreline, this is a decider for the map 7. Both of these teams have gone through all of the 6 maps and find themselves now in the position to deny, as we see Darkwix makes a huge mistake, which now leaves Sam to deny, but he touches the wall as well. So now it's up to CC Mech to take full advantage of this one as well. Oh no, this is not what you want to see after going through all 6 maps. This is the last way you want to see the map 7 go as well. Of course, we don't know how good the map would be for each team. Of course, for the regional, you in EU especially, you want to be trained on every single map. You just cannot let go of any of the maps to just be like, okay, we take it, the punch there. You really have to push every map, and let's see how the identity goes. Vulnera and Hydra get it clean, and it seems to be an ace for them, and indeed it is, as Sam and Darkwix find themselves in behind, and it's now a 5-1 scoreline for CC Mech. And now you're looking at this and you're like, Sam, Darkwix, we kind of need an ace here, my dude.
Yeah, we really do need a counter ace here. I mean, this could be over quickly if they don't, right? Unless they start winning some rounds, at least getting themselves back within a 3-point scoreline here would be crucial, as Darkwix starts off good, but Vulnera will overtake for the lead, and he'll keep it, in fact, as Darkwix tries to overtake him. Can't do so. Hydra, in fact, will take that 2nd place, and now Sam is the only one who can really do any damage here, and in fact, he'll go wide, he'll lose some time, but he'll get some on the back burner here, as Vulnera and Hydra still in the lead. Sam trying to come back, but he's behind by a 1/3 of a second here. Vulnera gets overtaken by Hydra as we go into the looping here. Let's see who's got the most amount of speed and who's got the better line. It's going to be Vulnera who gets ahead of Hydra. Sam, though, catching up by a little bit. He's now less than a 1/4 of a second behind. Darkwix has actually been able to come back, and look at this. It's now a draw formation, and Hydra needs to be perfect through this identity, and he's not. He's slowed down. Darkwix takes the lead. Is it an ace? It is! It's a snipe from Sam over Hydra, and what a comeback by Blue Lock. Both players behind by over 3/10, and Hydra and Vulnera, they crumble before the identity even starts, and because of that, CC Mech only up by 1 now, and that's the counter ace they needed.
Yeah, command center, Roger, Roger. We got the ace. It's again around where we are close. Once again, 4-5 the scoreline, and it seems that Sam and Darkwix always find themselves slightly behind. But this time, Darkwix with a good start. We've seen so far the rounds go the way where Darkwix makes an early mistake and Sam has to push it. But so far now, everybody is neck and neck, and now we get to see how far they can push it. I feel like the constant switching of numbers on the back of your car is already probably going to give you an indication. Probably they are playing with hot off as well, and they will probably be always looking like, oh, how much is the gap? And if they see that the numbers are constantly changing, you probably are going to make the connection that everybody's very close. Hydra has fallen a bit behind, but not too much. We last time saw it. It can be a catch-upable gap. So here we go. Currently, Sam and Darkwix looking to get the victory. Darkwix falls off, so it allows for Hydra to come in and snipe the position. And it's a victory for CC Mech with a 104.8 by the top two in this case. And oh boy, it's a 5-7 scoreline. And CC Mech, the redemption team, as I like to call it, have an ace to hunt to get through to the semi-finals.
Yes, and here's the thing, right? This is an uncomfortable position for both teams, right? If Project Lock here ace, they take the lead. A 2-point lead when you're on map point, right? That can get to you, right? Those nerves can get to you. And Darkwix right now, I mean, he's got the lead and Sam's in second place. So you need to be able to catch up here. If you're Volnera and Hydra, make yourself known that you will not go down without a fight as Sam goes down, and he'll be able to maybe come back, but he's behind by half a second, if not a bit more even, on the others. So he needs to make himself a little bit of a comeback as Hydra and Volnera try to catch up to Darkwix. Darkwix, though, keeps his lead, and it's quite a large one as well as we head towards the identity. Into the downhill first, though. No airtime for anyone. Darkwix will keep his lead, but Volnera slams it to the wall. That's huge. Hydra, can he catch up to Darkwix? Well, not if Darkwix does not fail the identity, and he does not. Darkwix and Sams, they answer back. They're not only down by one, it's 8-7, and now both teams can take this one with an ace. CC Mech can win this one with just a normal victory, but a draw or a round win for Blue Lock keeps us going.
Yeah, and this is now a precarious position you cannot afford, especially if you're in CC Mech. I feel like in mentality perspective as well, if you know that the other team only needs an ace to win, in my opinion, that is even more pressure. You might have the easier side of the coin flip, but sometimes having that position can be a bit too much, as we already find ourselves with Hydra a bit behind. So it's now up to Volnero to keep Darkwix and Sam at bay. Currently, of course, if it ends up being a victory for Project Blue Lock, it will be a 9-9. So CC Mech is trying everything in his power to at least retain that 1-point lead that they have. But ideally, you would just want to get that victory and close it off. But with Hydra being so far behind, they have to hope that Sam or Darkwix makes a mistake. And we get to see Darkwix hunting down Volnera. Will he be able to get him? Volnera gets some. Darkwix slows down to take it a bit safely, but Volnero falls down, and it is over! Project Blue Lock defeats CC Mech as, oh no, as Volnero makes the mistake on the pipe, and it is full despair. Project Blue Lock beat Hydra and Volnera in the most conceivable way, and what did I say about the ace? You have the best coin flip, but sometimes that ace it just tends to happen, and it's absolutely really sad to see. They gave it all, and both props to both teams. They really gave it all. You could see they were both pushing, but in the end, one team pushed a bit too much.
My goodness, Volnera, you had the game in your hands. That was looking like a draw. I was ready to get into the next round. 9-8 for CC Mech. And that's it,
Oh,
right? He flies out. He's out. That's it.
yeah, and
That's all she wrote for CC Mech. Nice comeback though, right? They did make it work there on the side of Project Blue Lock, but man, that hurts. That's a rough way to go out, especially when it loses you not just a track, but the game and the regional tournament itself. That was the double points as well, right, for CC Mech, because they weren't able to join in the last regional due to an error, right? They were given that second chance to double their points today. If they won the regional, they would have had double points, right? That would have been huge.
Yeah,
They
that would
could
have
not
been
take
huge
advantage
in
of it.
this case, and a lot of people were eyeing them to get to the final as well. But in this case, Project Blue Luck had the better of them. It came down to the wire. But for us at the moment, we will be going on to the break as well, and after that, we will have the semifinals. So don't go too far. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Glad to have you back. Hopefully, you were able to grab a quick drink after those crazy results from the quarterfinals. We saw the regional winner go out ascent against Serotonin. And we also had, of course, we just saw the glimpse of Project Blue Lock and CC Prod, where Project Blue Lock were able to get that final round to get themselves through to the next round. And currently, the matchups for the semifinals are as follows: Serotonin Events versus Glorious Esports, and then of course we have Mint versus Project Blue Lock, as you saw in that match as well, and definitely a very good teams to go through. Evil Pink weren't able to get their revenge against Mint.
Yeah,
happens, but the scoreline was there for 4-2, so definitely it wasn't a complete wash there. It went to 6 maps. So definitely a good showing for them as well. Hopefully they will be able to, perhaps they will get an easier matchup next time. or mint, at least not mint next time, so to get
Yeah.
perhaps a better chance. But so far, I will say EU producing some absolute bangers, and I'm gonna be honest, from the Challenger League going to today, we've had some. It's been a good setup for today. It's been an exciting from APEC to EU excitement all the way.
Excitement all the way. That's what you like to see. That's what you like to hear as well. Serotonin events going through on stream, and then we watch CC Mech. That hurt. That hurt a lot. It still hurts, right? It still hurts. But what's gonna hurt even more for them is watching Project Blue Lock playing up against Mint, because that's what we are going to be watching, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going to be watching Glorious Esports up against Serotonin events. We will see who wins later on, because obviously we will also be doing the grand final today in what, maybe an hour or so. So it's nice to see. Know what else is nice to see? No sweeps whatsoever in this playoff. Everyone is close, even like Team Gel, as we said, right? They weren't in the top 8 when it came to seeding, right? They were seeded what, 12th?
Yes,
and they
correct.
still were able to win 2 maps up against Glorious Esports. So at that point, right, you've got yourself a really nice setup here, a really nice branching off tree where 1 through 12 are capable of beating each other practically, right? It's scary. It's very scary.
Yeah, you just cannot let go of the gas so far, and we've seen like even of course Glorious Esports, if you know, is Heave and Pustipaco, and Acroz and Epos were able to give them a bit of the run for their money, and every team was able to do so. So we get to see like we're getting ups and downs everywhere. What we expected, what we went in with, you just cannot have any expectations. You might have a bias because you might be favoring somebody because you're a fan of somebody. Especially a lot of these players are very well known in the esports and in the campaigns as well. So a lot of these players know each other well. They played against each other well. But now you are competing against each other in probably the biggest esports you've ever done. Well, okay, maybe you might give a bit of to Serrator, maybe. Okay, we'll give him that. But given the esports longevity, the Trackmania World Tour is giving them a chance to go up against the pros themselves. Because remember, top 8 in this case, there's a lot to go for. There's All Stars to compete for. There's promotion relegation for TMCL. So even if you're gonna have a bad time at first, those global points are important. And at the end of the day, if you finish first, you have a chance to play against the best of the best, TMGL, Challenger, and that is what you're aiming for. You get your name on the flashing lights, you get to be seen by the entire world. I mean, who wouldn't want to be there? I mean, especially with Trackmania, a lot of it is about the honor and the prestige, you know. Especially imagine an EU or any region team just goes against those teams and just wins against them as well. It could be TMGL or Challenger. We always have these scenarios in our head, and it's so fun to think about how a lot of these people are getting the opportunity to do so.
4 teams left over, ladies and gentlemen, in the second regional. And who is your favorite to win it all, right? Who is your favorite today? All for maybe even the rest of TMWT EU, right? Who is your favorite? Because there's only 2 games left for today, and the one that we'll be watching, as we've said, right? We want to see a good matchup again, right? Maybe another map 7. You know, just like we saw CC Mech and Project Blue Lock go for and be stuck in, right? That was a really tight match. And all things considered, that is something you love to see. You know what else we love to see, right? The match that we first watched, right, between Ascent and Serotonin events. The nice thing about that is that we saw maps that we didn't see earlier on in the tournament, right? Gyroscope, Agility Dash, right? And Arrow Pipes. All 3 of those maps are maps that we rarely see, especially Agility Dash and Gyroscope recently, right? They've not been picked as much. And, well, it's really nice to see that it's come through. Those picks can come in from time to time, and, well, that's great to see that every team is comfortable playing on most maps.
Yeah, and we won't be keeping you waiting on for too long. We already have the big and bans going on as we see that the red team has banned Slippy Slides, Parkour is banned by blue team, Arrow Pipes. Our first map is Arrow Pipes. Okay, switching up
Yep.
the interesting part. Back and forth is second. Flip of Fate is third. And already some completely completely different map pack to what we've had before. Like, of course, we had Aeropipes before, but we now have back and forth, Flip of Faith, Slowdown, which we didn't see, a very competitive map as well. And let's see what we else do. What do we have over? We have Gyros, Agility Dash, Freestyle. I want to see some Freestyle. I feel like
Yeah.
that map doesn't get too much love. There is a reason why it doesn't. That ending can be a very clip heavy, and especially if you don't get the gear on Freestyle, you're gonna have a bad day. But so far, it seems to be that Razi is taking, or at least the team. Well, I'll get to show you as well. We have
Mint.
Mint
Yeah.
with Razi and Tricky, and of course Project Blue Lock. I think they deserve a full match cast after that gruesome battle they had. And Dark with Sam on your screens once again. But Ding Dong, Razi, you need to pick, and you pick Freestyle. I like
Yeah.
that, man. Rossi playing towards the crowd. But what is gonna be our sixth map? Agility
Oh
dash.
man.
Come on, give us agility dash.
Agility Dash or Gyroscope would be very nice for a sixth map, honestly. Reps would be a great decider as well, but yeah, there you go. Reps is a great decider indeed, and the game agrees. Agility Dash is the sixth pick, and randomly picked between Gyroscope and Reps is Reps.
Yeah,
So
and
that would be a great decider. Once again, that's what we ended on last time, right?
yeah,
Between Project Blue Lock and CC Mech. So
it's a
once
strategy.
again, Reps
It's
being
clearly a
ahead,
strategy. That's all I'm
it's
saying.
clearly the strategy. Yeah, I
Surely it's
agree.
not like randomly picked map, but at least Project Blue Lock know that if anything, it comes. Of course, they don't want to go there, but if it ever comes down to the seventh map, they did do it against CC Proc on rep, so they are well aware of what they did wrong, how they did well there, and they can capitalize on that if it comes down to map 7, which we all want. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to watch Trackmania. We want all of it. We want every single map. We want every single storyline as possible. I'm sure everybody has done their gambas. You know, imagine another 9-9 scoreline or like that on map 7, and you're just hoping that your gamba wins. Of course, you hope that your favorite team wins, but you know, channel points, they're important. They're very
Channel points are
important. But
important. Yes, yes,
okay,
yes.
for some a bit too much. Okay, gambling is not okay, ladies and gentlemen. Don't gamble too much. Okay, don't get
Don't
addicted.
be like me, all right? Don't be like me and bet like 10,000 to 100,000 channel points on every single match when it comes to other games, all right? Because I do have uh about 700,000 channel points on another channel, and the gamba is real, right? So don't be like me. Don't be like me, all right? But if I had to bet on anyone for this first one, it'd be Mint. It is their map pick after all, right? So let's see if that will go through. As Mint right now looking to take their own map pick as we start off the game on Arrow Pipes. What a interesting first pick to have, as Sam and Darkwix are going to try and steal it away, and Mint are going to try and keep it together here. As currently in the lead is Sam, followed by Razi, followed by Tricky, followed by Darkwix, who has a slow ice. Sam keeps his lead over Razi for the moment, and Razi's going to try and catch back up through these turns more inside. Won't catch up with more speed, though, as Sam keeps himself alive here in the lead, and that's Tricky, who gets himself in a sticky situation, gets himself down into last as Razi goes for the overtake as we head onto the dirt into the few turns here, and Razi very close to the wall. He'll have more speed because of that. The closer you are, the more speed you get out of that exit, especially if you smooth steer. And right now, Razi just barely behind. Who's going to risk it more? And it's going to be Razi. Look at how much he's risking this. And Sam did not have as much confidence as Razi did. The cojones on this man allows Mint to tie this round. It is a draw to start us off.
Yeah, Razi he's not a stranger to pressure as well. Man has played in Challenger League as well, so he knows exactly what you need in those high pressure situation, and this man is definitely the man to look out for. If you are going up against this man in rounds, you definitely need to look out. But we have seen that you only need to make one mistake and that could just turn everything upside down, especially on arrow pipes. So let's see. Currently, Tricky finding currently the position as fourth So hopefully the position can improve as the map goes further. As we see, he's pushing very nicely, but everybody's neck, and like you can barely separate all of the cars as they go across the checkpoint. Less than a tenth separating a bit of different lines. Now we see a bit of separation between the players. Let's see how this goes. Everybody's tightly packed, but Tricky providing us with the perfect POE as we go on to the identity. What do we get on arrow pipes? Let's see here. First jump is on the pipes. No slowdowns. Darkwick's almost getting the crash there, but everybody's going for it. It's down to the line, and oh my giddy aunt! It's a 108 on all across the board, and that must go down in history as the closest round on arrow pipes I've ever seen. That couldn't have been any closer, basically. Holy Jesus.
Yeah, that is the round of rounds. If you were watching, I think you're paying attention now. Most people just turn off on arrow pipes, right? Oh, it's boring. There's so many mistakes. Oh, there's so many slowdowns. Did you just see that round? I think everyone here has a stake in wanting to win it, and of course, having the speed and pace to do so. Sam currently with quite a nice lead, but can he keep it together here as Tricky and Razi will try and hunt him down? So old Darkwix, of course, trying to stay ahead of Tricky and Razi, but he falls and he'll hit into the wall. So now it's all Sam up against Tricky and Razi, and Tricky getting closer and closer actually to Sam. Closer and closer indeed. So does Razi though, because he also pretty good on this dirt here. So it's tricky. I mean, look at this. They're trying to catch up. They're slightly behind still. Sam, can he keep it together, though, is what matters the most. The first jump here, and it's perfect from Sam and Tricky, and Sam keeps it together on the second jump as well. Tricky goes through, and oh, Razi gets overtaken at the line. We're tied at 4. That's a good way to keep on going. Oh, man, Darkwix, that's why you never give up. You are behind by a second and a half, and you make it all the way back.
Yeah, in this case, Razi decided to go for it. He was slowed down by the pipes, but he thought that he would be able to get to the finish line right in time. But Darkwix comes through with all of that speed, and with a clean identity, he managed to snipe, bringing us to a 4-4 affair on arrow pipes. And this is proving to be some of the most best action we've seen on arrow pipes so far. Very close rounds, and it has come down to the milliseconds, to the thousands, to decide who gets the win and who gets the rightful points. As currently, if we find ourselves in another round, close affair, again, nothing separating the players. They're clearly here. They have the finals in their sights, and they're pushing the very limits of arrow pipes. We see you cannot differentiate where the cars are. Everybody's doing the dirt perfectly almost. Rossi does find himself a bit behind, but it's only a margin. And arrow pipes yet again. Will we see another repeat of a close round? Here we go, arrow pipes yet again. Everybody lands, no mistake. Rossi does get a bit of a kick and flip, and Tricky does go and push, but does he get on the line? 3000s, and he saves it. And it's another clean round on arrow pipes. Comes down to 3 milliseconds as Tricky saves meant from a possible catastrophe from an ace from that round, and it's 5-5 the scoreline.
Man, what a save there by Tricky. Very well done. Not only does he stop the ace, he stops the round win. We're still tied at 5 because of that, right? But now Razi, he's forced Tricky into doing it again. This time around, though, he is in first place at least, but Darkwix could overtake him. Oh, through the ice. That's not going to happen, though, because he slides out. Now it's 2 1v1s happening at the exact same time, but Razi's ice is not clean whatsoever as Sam takes that lead. He does like to take the lead through this section. He is quite fast, but he doesn't tend to keep it after once he reaches on the dirt. Let's see if he can keep it together all the way through it this time around. As we head onto the dirt now, it is a quarter of a second between Tricky and Sam, and as we'll head to the next checkpoint, we'll see what that is. It's still a quarter of a second, so Sam keeping it together, maybe a little bit slower as we see Tricky getting a little bit closer to Sam. As we get towards the identity here, it is all Sam as Tricky nearly doesn't make it. Tricky really risking, but it does not matter in the end as Sam keeps it together here. The only 108 this time around. In fact, last round, he would have been last with that time.
Yeah, it's the detriment of arrow pipes. You can have one of those rounds where you just have to get it clean. It's all you have to do to just secure the round, and it was a still a very solid time, all things considered. But you can clearly see the pace was slowed down, a bit safer. You know the gaps are a bit bigger. You just want to make sure you get through aero pipes. And Rossi makes another early mistake, the same spot basically. So again, Tricky needs to uphold the scoreline, and he slides out of all things as well. You never. Oh, and Rossi as well. Tricky somehow still alive. So apparently he probably got a bit of a bounce with bit of a bounce from the wall to keep himself alive, but that's a second behind. So now with Project Blue Lock on the map that Mint picked, let me remind you as well, in a position to take the 3 points, the ace, and the track point, the 3-in-1 for all but free. But of course, we've said it all again. The identity looms. You still might be saying, oh, they're 10 seconds behind. We got this in the back. Surely there's not gonna be anything that's gonna happen. And Darkwix hits the corner, but I believe that the gap is too big to make any detriment whatsoever. So I did kind of curse him with that setup, but it's good enough. GG to Project Blue Lock. They take arrow pipes with 10-6. Very nicely done, but I feel like in some sense, Tricky and Razi could have really taken this, but a lot of early mistakes happened, especially already as early as the ice.
Yeah, and Project Blue Lock took full advantage, right? They capitalized on mistakes. And of course, when it came down to Mint, the Tricky and Ozzy were pretty clutch when they needed to be, but they made too many mistakes, and that will cost you arrow pipes, especially when the match is that close on it, right? When your opponents won't make mistakes, you cannot be the one that makes a mistake, especially when you don't even make a mistake in the identity, right? It happens way before the identity, even before the ice even happens. So now we're on back and forth, and well, I hope that's the kind of match that we're gonna have, because otherwise, well, it could be very one-sided, because this is Project Blue Lock's pick. Let's see if they can lock it in, as Ozzy currently in the lead. It's not by much, as he gets overtaken by Darkwix, and Darkwix, actually, that lead is pretty solid, all things considered, already, just off of the start. Darkwix leads Razi, who leads Tricky, who leads Sam, as he gets overtaken by the Frenchman there. Razi keeps himself in the contention for this lead, as nice 360s out of everyone, but Sam will overtake Tricky. Tricky now down in last place, and we've got ourselves a train as we head towards the identity here, and Razi tries to go for the overtake in the entry, but it's not going to happen. Let's see if through this identity he can risk just that little bit more in where Darkwix can't. And look at this, he's got a little bit more speed, but he goes for the risk. He's going to get aced because of that, and he's going to get bitten back. Oh my goodness, that could have been just a round loss. You could have taken it, you would have been down by 1. Instead, you clip and you let the other team ace, and that's not how you want to start here on back and forth.
Yeah, not such a mint of a round for Mint as well, but I do give my blessings to everybody on my identity. Hopefully Razi will benefit from that as well, as we see that Tricky already making an early mistake. So it is up to Razi to now uphold it, and so far Project Blue Lock really showing their strength here as well. But again, the identity in the end can be very close to fair, as we saw as well. It was only one slide out, and it went from a victory to an ace as Darkwix makes a mistake, which allows Razi to now go in the lead. This is exactly what they want. Is Tricky able to capitalize on this? Not. Oh, he is indeed. So he has overtaken Darkwix as well. So let's see. Can Sam deny Razi? Perhaps they can just get a draw out of it, but that is very wide indeed. So he's going to lose a lot of speed. Can Tricky capitalize on this? He's a bit too far away, and unless there's mistakes in the end, it's going to be still a victory for Mint. But I do believe they were hoping for a bit more. If it wasn't for the early mistake by Tricky, this would have been a counter ace by Mint. But for now, it's 4-2 for Project Blue Lock.
And this is why you say you have to mitigate your mistakes, and this is why, right? An ace that happened in the first round that could have been just a regular round win, instead, right, turned into that ace, and instead of us being tied at 3-3 now, it's a 4-2 lead for Project Blue Lock. So Project Blue Lock here can knock back, right? They can come back in this one and show off what they can do, especially with Razi having made such a big mistake off of the start here. It's all down to Sam and Darkwix, though. Can they keep Tricky behind and ace once more? As Tricky goes up into second place, overtaking Sam. He does not want that to happen as we head towards the identity. as he gets closer and closer to Darkwix. Actually, everyone gets closer and closer to Darkwix as we go towards the identity here. And look at Tricky. He wants to get into that podium position at the top of it, but instead Sam steals it away. Sam could actually win this round, and he does! And Darkwix and Tricky draw. They tie the round, but because Darkwix was ahead of Tricky at the last checkpoint, Tricky gets third place, and that's an ace once again by Project Blue Lock, down by 5 now, our mint.
Oh my god, and to think that they were literally inside each other in that final checkpoint as well, so it must have been absolutely 1000 in that decider as well, but in this case it goes in the favor of Project, and it's a despair moment for Mint. It was one of the closest finishes we've seen on back and forth yet again, but it came down to literally 70,000. And we see at the moment that Razi, oh, it does get a good landing. It looked to me that he was going to go for a really awkward landing there, but Sam has to give way because of a wider line, and now he gets to get the position. But this is not what you want. You need the ace. You need to beat Darkwix, because otherwise it's going to be 8-3, and yeah, it's a bit better, but it's not going to be any better.
No,
Tricky
worse.
clipping the corner. Sam could just put Project Blue Lock in the win, but Razi still upholds. So it's going to be a victory for them, but it's 9-3, and you now cannot make any mistakes if you're Mint. One little clip, and if they get 1 point, Project Blue Lock go 2-0 ahead in track points.
Man, 2 aces needed from Mint, nothing else, right? If you are Mint here, you must ace twice, and now you have to take advantage of this, right? Sam has completely clipped out. You need to beat Darkwix. There is no other option here if you're Razi and Tricky. You must play the perfect round of Trackmania just to bring yourself 1 ace away from tying the game. That's how far away they are right now, because otherwise, if they allow Darkwix to get first or second place, it is going to be a 2-0 lead for Project Blue Lock here, heading onto the third map. So right now, if you're Tricky and Razi, you need the riskiest, bestest back and forth identity you could possibly give, as Darkwix keeps his lead, but he's a little bit slow compared to the other two. Let's see, can they push it? They need to, because Darkwix has won the round for Project Blue Lock. They are through 2-0, and now they're halfway there to the grand finals.
Yeah, 56-7, 56-8 across the board, but even that is not enough. Darkwix proves to be the wall that Razi and Tricky cannot overcome. A bit too short of a ladder they brought along to back and forth, and it's a 10-4 for Project Blue Lock, and it's 2-0 as we move on to the next map, which is a map that we don't see quite often, of course. It is, in this case, Flip of Faith. Now, this map is pretty much identities galore. Let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Even the start is probably some of the most difficult starts in World Tour, in my opinion, because this jump looks deceivingly easier, but you want to land as low as possible. Yes, you can jump to Narnia, but you're gonna lose a second, and then the second flip as well. Also, you jump to Narnia, another second loss. So even if you get this first part clean, you can already lose seconds without even doing anything really wrong apart from just safing it. So you can see everybody's jumping very low. Let's see what the second flip is. Oh, going very low. Rossi gets it very nice. Good acceleration. Gets himself in front as well. Everybody gets it clean, but you can see there wasn't too big of a major difference in what they did, but slightly bit higher, slightly bit lower, and you already have half a second difference between the front and the back. But the good thing at least is that both partners have one at the front and one at the back. So here we go. Currently Darkwix trying to chase and get back in the mix with his teammates. Sam goes for the jump line there. And let's see, we go on to the flip of fate. We have a good perspective of everybody. Who will risk it? Who will go for the save? Everybody goes for the flip, of course. Everybody makes the flip, but who will get it? For this round, it is a draw. And it is a competitive round of flip of fate. Excellent start, but it's still a draw.
Excellent start indeed. This is what you'd want on your promotional material if you want to play, if you want to show off Flip of Faith, right? But the thing is that it's normally not that close. So at this point in time, this is a nice round of Flip of Faith. Can we get another one, right? Can we get another as we see again Darkwix starting off a little bit slow because he goes a little bit too high, right? And look at this. He lands it safely, right? He went a lot safer than the others, but he's behind by a full second. Tricky and Razi are in ace formation. For Sam, how is he going to catch up here, right? Other than the identity, there is not really a big spot where you can catch up because everyone's practically doing the same lines as Tricky and Razi are in the lead. They're looking to ace here and take a 4-1 lead and possibly win this map away from Project Blue Lock as Razi and Tricky have a big lead heading into the identity here. It is the massive flip, and Razi and Tricky, they both lined it perfectly. Sam nearly had the perfect identity, but it didn't matter. He needed to go for the full risk, the lowest possible flip. It just did not come through. He was one car length too low. That's it. And that's not by much, right? Not even a car length, sorry, a car height. Not a car length, a car height. That's it. That's all he was missing. Whoa.
Yeah, that was the missing formula there, but that's what Flip of Faith is. You want to go as low as possible, and in this case, it was a worthwhile risk there, but it just didn't pay off. And we can clearly see why Mint have chosen this map. They've been looking very good on this map. So far, they've gone full clean, and oh my god, that is filth, Rossi. That is a clean landing as soon as possible. He got the wheel right. He started accelerating right as he landed, basically on the edge of it, and we can see Darkwix again a second behind. But this time Sam is saying that the hold up here. We have a bit of a competition around because Razi is being contested by Sam. So let's see how it goes. Again, they go for a bit of a jump. You cannot have the optimal line there every time, so you might sometimes just say, I'll go for the jump, but the flip is the most important part. Here we go. Sam goes so low. He gets it so low as well, and he denies the ace, keeping some dreams alive, but they are doing really well on the map. I gotta give them compliments. Darkwix having a bit of trouble. It seems that it's not the map of his forte, but Sam is trying to keep the dream alive. It is 5-2 for Mint, but they are keeping it in mint condition. This is definitely a certified mint map.
It could definitely be. It is their map pick after all, but they need to keep it clean some more, right? They cannot allow themselves to make mistakes at this point of the match, right? They have a controlling lead of the game after that ace, and at this point in time, with Kazi and Tricky, again, in ace formation, they need to make it happen, right? They need to take full advantage of this. They cannot allow Darkwix or Sams here to get into this one. You know what? It's side by side for all four players. They are all within a tenth of each other, and that is scary, especially on a track like this. It's all going to come down to the identity. It's all going to come down to who can flip the lowest. Well, you better flip that coin, ladies and gentlemen, because Razi is in the lead. Darkwix is in second. Tricky's in third, but it doesn't all matter because they're all side by side, and Razi, he lands it a little bit too early. It's a fight between Tricky and Darkwix. It's only separated by 24 milliseconds. Sams comes in third at least, taking advantage of Razi's mistake and drawing the round. But Razi, I mean, he tried his best to stay just slightly ahead, but man, just with that one wheel clipped, and that's all that cost him.
Oh, that's a certified save moment right there. I think a quick drip of sweat was definitely going on the forehead of Tricky there. That came a bit too closer than he probably wanted, but at this case, oh, Sam makes an early mistake. That is not what a sight to behold. As Razi, for the first time, makes a mistake early on, and he tries to go for low jump, messing up again. Sam makes a mistake, so this has now become a two-horse race between Tricky and Darkwix. And all of that now we say is grumbled in the bits, and it could be a possibility that these two will determine who gets the majority points on this map. Of course, there could be still mistakes in the end, but if Darkwix and Tricky do a clean ending, it could come down to the timeout here. So here we go, Tricky going in first, Darkwix following. So let's see, first flip going well, Darkwix gets a bit lower, but it's not enough. Tricky gets a good jump and gets to the finish. And that's gonna be it. Can Razi actually finish? He is first, and with the positioning as it is now, Mint will get a victory. So, well, Razi might be able to finish. Yeah, he will come in third place, so he will be able to catch up in time. But it would have been a victory nonetheless, because which way ever the positions were gonna be. But Sam seems to have just given up. He was so far behind that it was like, okay, it's just done. I just hope that Darkwix gets first, but not in this case.
Track point now for Mint, and they're up by 4 as well, right? Keep that in mind. They are up by 4. No ace here from Project Blue Lock will give them the tie or the win in terms of points. However, it is a must. It is necessary at this point, and they're in position to do so, as Darkwix and Sam are currently in first and second place. Ghazi in third can fight for this one because Tricky has made that mistake. He's behind by about a second on everyone. So Darkwix and Sam need to keep this together, need to keep Ghazi behind, need to keep him in third place. They cannot allow him to even get second, because if they do, they'll be down in a 9-6 situation. They'll need to ace to survive. So in this case, ace now, so you don't need to do it just for survival, as Darkwix and Sams go through, and they'll stay alive. They will ace. They are back in this one. They could go up 3-0 in terms of maps, and I did not think I would be able to say that after, well, the slow start that they had, but they're coming back now. It's 8-7 in favor of Mint, but Project Blue Lock could ace again, and they would win the game. They would win the map, I should say. Not the game just yet, right? But being up 3-0, I mean, a reverse sweep, it barely happens in anywhere, right? Professional sports, BO7s, right? Last one I can think of was hockey, 2014, I think, right? They never happen. They never happen. And so if you allow Project Blue Lock to go up 3-0, you'd have to create an insane comeback. Absolutely insane comeback.
Yeah, and that is something that's currently offered on the table. Project Blue Lock is very well known in this position. They did it to CC Prod. Can they do it to Mint as well? As currently Darkwix and Razi make the mistake. This could be the round winning moment here as we go on to Razi. Razi probably knows that he needs to risk to make it count. Everybody, Sam makes the mistake. So now this is a victory for Mint, and it is a track point for Mint, as well as that final jump, that one round where you really didn't want to make that mistake. Sam goes a bit too low. He knew he probably needed the risk to win the map, but that risk didn't go his way, and it's a track point for Mint. We will for sure see at least 5 maps, but what will we have next? And it is Slowdown, which we also didn't see in the previous match, but we have seen it before, and it is a very competitive map. That is for sure.
Competitive indeed. Just like that last round there of a Flip of Faith. I mean, Tricky, right? He was behind. It was an ace position for Blue Lock. They could be up 3-0 had there been no mistakes. But Tricky had an ace up his sleeve. He came back, got himself back in contention there, and won the round because Sam fell off, man. And that is not how you want to lose the map. That's not how a comeback could start here for Mint, right? Because they were on the brink. If they lost that map, they'd be down 3-0. Instead, it's a 2-1 series, and this could really just blow up in the face of Project Blue Lock if they allow for any momentum to be gained by Mint. Right now, it is an ace formation for Sam and Darkwix. It is their map pick, after all, so they want to keep it competitive at least. They want to win this one, though. It would really look good on the resume if they were to ace the first round, as Mint did, actually, on Flip of Faith. It was the second round, but whatever. As Darkwix and Sam look like they want to ace this one, and no airtime for either of them. Looking good. They'll win the round, both of them with 56s, mid-56s. Ghazi comes in a second behind, actually. Barely not a second behind, but a second behind. And Tricky, 2.5 seconds behind.
Yeah, it is. Slowdown can be a bit of a interesting case where, we see an early mistake by Darkwix clipping the inside of the wall. We've seen Slowdown have some rounds where it can go down to the wire, down to the very last points, but we've also seen 12 zeros on this map. So, of course, for Project Blue Lock, that would be the ideal situation. But with Darkwix being almost a second and a half behind, it's now up to Sam to keep that lead alive and not allow a counter race. But Sam looked really good on the map, at least from the first round, and he's looking to do the same here, as Tricky and Razi are trying to keep up, but man, he's just really pushing the limits of this map at the moment. We had a 56-6 in the previous round. Will he be able to do it even faster this time? So let's see. Identity goes, and I really shouldn't say anything. Sam goes fine, but he tries to go the inside line, but that no slide is the detriment. So a counter race is on the table. I do apologize to you, Sam, but you were on such a good time. I had to like pump it up, but I think I pumped it too much. Just a bit too much juice in there. So it's a 3-3
Man,
as a score.
you keep on caster cursing everyone, man. How can you do this? Right? I'm trying my best sometimes and it's not working. Maybe it's because I am trying, right? And that might be the issue there. As Darkwix again with a small mistake this time around. He's only 4 tenths behind, not a second and a half, but it's still down to Sam to really make the difference here. And this time around, he can't have any airtime, but he's not in the lead this time. Rozzy is, and Sam needs to catch back up here if he wants to at least draw the round. And Tricky being in third place, he yep signs himself. Oh no, this is down to Rozzy now, actually. Rozzy's the one with pressure as Tricky clips out. And so Sam trying to catch back up to his opponent. 2 tenths behind exactly as we head into the identity. And Rozzy makes the same mistake Sam did last time around. It's gonna be another ace. My goodness, what kind of match are we in for here on this map? Because I'm just seeing ace after ace after ace. Is it a counter ace here for Mint on this next round?
Uh,
Maybe?
I don't have the script for this match, but for the ground, I will say it will be an ace. So we are looking for a 6-6 scoreline. Project Blue Lock would probably want none of that. They would like to get an ace of their own and get to a 9-6. And with the mistake by Rozzy to clip the wall there, they're looking in a very good position to do so. Tricky, of course, now has to deny it, but we've seen few little mistakes come from other players as well. The only real mistake have been made, at least in the slowdown identity portion. Always there is one person that makes an early clip as such, so Rozzy does find himself a bit behind. So Tricky in a tricky situation, but hopefully he is used to it as well. But he has to deny Darkwix, and he's almost half a second in front. That is not what you can gain on slowdown, so he has to at least get Sam. Or is it going to be an ace galore on the map? He's trying to push, but that is not how you do it. So it's a back-to-back ace, and it's 4 aces in a row. But it's not for one team, but it is 9-3 the scoreline, and Project Blue Lock are looking to get the map that they deserve. But I didn't expect it to be just full aces. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest.
Man, I did not expect quad aces either. I mean, that is a bad beat if I've ever heard of one. But we're not playing poker here, ladies and gentlemen. We are playing Trackmania. And for Mint to get themselves back into this game, just to tie this back up, they're going to need pocket aces of their own, 2 in a row. And there's no other way. And with Tricky with a slow start here, that's going to be even more difficult. Project Blue Lock are looking to put this one away and go up 3-1 as they want to put this one in the bag. But right now, Rozzy in that lead. I mean, if Darkwix and Sam both make a mistake here, or Tricky somehow finds a way to gain 3 tenths in this identity, I mean, anything can happen as Rozzy keeps himself in the lead here. But Tricky's not coming in. Tricky's nowhere to be seen. And so it is the round win for Project Blue Lock. And they find themselves on the precipice of the grand finals.
Yeah, it is a 10 for Project Blue Lock. Gets the map win, and they only need one more to go. And I do believe it's a map that is gonna be a good one. It's a map we don't see quite often. We didn't get to get too much. We saw glimpses of it when we went to a certain matches, but it is freestyle. What a map to decide the possibly the fate of the game or the prolonging of the game. It is not an easy map, especially since there's a lot of spots where you want to go outside. There's really inside, and there's a lot of obstacles. There's signs on the right, there's lamps on the left, there's everything to push you out of the map to give you every clip imaginable. So it's up to Mint to now push it a bit further as well. As we see a different approach here, we've seen it in other leagues as well. You can go for the inside line, which is safer, but it's the outside line that is a lot faster. It gives you a tenth in advance. So we go over the nose steer, which is simplified, of course, on the easier version. Usually you don't see many mistakes here. So we get to go on to the quarter pipe. No ice here, so no way to slide out, but it is very easy to clip that CP ring because everybody wants to go for a very low jump to accelerate as soon as possible. Here again on the freestyle 2 approach, you can release and get an early landing, which is faster, But of course, you can go for the full jump, but it's all up to the setup you want for this. No drop gears, hopefully, as we go on to the identity from Sam's point of view. He has the lower gear. Rozzy hits the corner, but he still makes it, so it is an ace for Project Blue Lock. And that is the worst case scenario for Mint. That is the complete opposite of what you wanted to see.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see if you're if you're Mint here, because you see Project Blue Lock getting themselves up again in that ace. When's the last time that we've not had an ace? Right? It's been ace after ace after ace after ace here. And so let's see what Mint can do. Can they come back? They need to claw themselves back out of this hole here. It's very scary for them as Project Blue Lock trying to put themselves in the situation of victory. However, Sam and Darkwix in the leading position. Razi and Tricky are close in behind as we go into the jump. They get down to get up and looking to overtake. Tricky is going to go wide for extra speed out of this exit here. Let's see if he can overtake anyone as the low jumps come through. And it's Darkwix and Sam in the lead. They want to make it 6-0. Can they do it as Razi catches up? His jump is perfect, and he snipes both of them. He takes the lead over all of them. And as Tricky fails the identity, at least it's a 4-1 lead rather than a 6-0 lead, thanks to Razi's heroics.
Yeah, Rossi putting in the effort. You could see the difference. There was a difference between Darkface and Sam not getting the upper gear and Rossi getting it. The speed difference is enormous, and it does allow you to get the freestyle identity a lot better. So that is what you're looking for. It's very hard to do, and you see it constantly as well. It's not consistent to do. You feel like you do the drift, everything correctly, but your speed and your gear is not in the right position, and it can lead to a lot of detriment. And you do have to quickly notice as well how your speed is and how you're gonna approach the identity. But here we go, we have another good round on our hands. Close round, of course, to start us off. Again, Project Blue Lock do take the early lead, but Sam does touch the wall, so he does have to now make a bit of amends, jumps a bit higher just to be sure that he doesn't clip the CP ring. So here we go again. Razi, Darkwix, Tricky, and Sam. You do want to do a nose slide, but if you're on keyboard, you just gotta go tap 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 tap. Keyboard abusing on the dirt and left, it's definitely a lot. So whereas Darkwix goes completely to the stands, maybe he has a fan there that wanted an autograph, but that's not what you want to get. It is a victory for Mint, and Darkwix does come in fourth. It's a 3-5 scoreline, and I do hope that autograph was worth it for that fan there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still up by 2, right? They're looking like they're gonna win this one. They have that 3-1 lead, right? And they have that 5 3-point lead, right? At this point, if you're Mint, you need to create an amazing comeback, right? You need to come back from the brink in a really hard way as Darkwix, he's out of the round, but Sam is still pretty quick. He could still draw this one out. Razi and Tricky will need to do something incredible to get ahead of him, because now he's got himself a 10th and a half of a lead as we head onto this spring jump into the dirt. We go down, and Sam has that huge lead to his name. In fact, Razi is the only one fighting because Tricky's made that mistake in the ring jump. And so Darkwix is in third place. Sam leads, and Razi is in second. Can he stay ahead of Darkwix at least and stop the ace? Oh no, he can't! Darkwix, oh! Ooh, the clip from Darkwix saves Razi from detriment there. They nearly went down 9-3 again.
Oh.
Instead, it's only 4-7. But man, whew.
Yeah, that is a close round. You saw, I think even Darkwix wasn't prepared for how much speed he came. We were spectating Ruz, and he just zooms in from across the wall ride, but I think even he wasn't prepared for the amount of speed he had on the identity. But that just shows the difference. The gear is so important, and that can completely change the way you approach that identity. You always try to accommodate for both, but sometimes you just go absolutely balls to the wall and you just are not prepared for what is to come. As we see Razi still in the mix, everybody's trying to go. You see tap 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 tap, Razi trying to tap his way up the dirt hill, but that is going to be slower compared to a controller. So now it's a moment where Project Blue Lock is looking to get the ace, looking to get the match, looking to get their spot in the final, but we see that the slow speed is going to be a detriment, but it's going to be a victory for Mint, so they draw themselves a bit closer. Darkwits didn't get the gear, and it's a 6-8 scoreline, delaying the hopefully the not so inevitable for Project Blue Lock. They're 2 points away from securing themselves a grand final position, but there's one team in their way, and it is Mint.
Yeah, and Mint here, I mean, they could do two things, right? If they ace this round, they take the lead, they're up 9-8, and, well, they're looking good afterwards to take at least this map, and then they have to go to the next one on map number 6, on track number 6. But right now, right, in the situation they're in, they could potentially win 2 rounds in a row and bring us to overtime as well. That would be very interesting, especially on freestyle, as Razi is still in last place after that jump, but Tricky could overtake everyone and go into the lead, but instead he gets overtaken by both Darkwix and Sands. That long line gets him completely out of line, as Tricky now has to overtake both Sam and Darkwix, or at least try to draw as best as you can. Razi clips again. Does he get overtaken though by Darkwix? No, he also clips. It's 9-7, and this is one of the weirdest score lines you can have, because you're down by 2. The only thing you can do is ace, and you would win, right? There is no way to tie this. There is no way to bring this to overtime. It is a win-only situation. You must ace, or you lose. And if you're Mint right now, you must keep that ace position. And right now, they've gotten themselves overtaken. Was that Razi that got into the wall? It was! That's so detrimental! That's huge! That is Project Blue Lock looking like they're going to take this one, even with Tricky in the lead. This gets a lot harder now, especially with Sam and Darkwix right on Tricky's tail. In fact, Tricky now is the one trailing, as Tricky tries to jump low to get back ahead. It's not going to work out in his favor, though, especially with this long line that he has. He goes so wide and loses so much time compared to Simon Darkwix. Goes from being only 2/10 down to 4/10 down as they go into the identity, and Tricky doesn't have the speed to keep up, and he clips. It's over, ladies and gentlemen. Project Blue Lock are in the grand final, or should I say Projet Blue Lock, because they are the French team after all. Tricky and Razi, that is it. GG's for them. They're out in the semifinals.
Yeah, that is a fair play to them. Project Blue Lock, after a nail-biter of a match in the quarterfinals, they make it look rather convincing. It is a 4-1 scoreline, of course, but we must admit it was, in this case, it was still a very close one, but we saw Project Blue Lock definitely where they meant they had grand final in their sights, and that was clearly where they are heading now as well. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to all as well. I do believe we'll have to see if the other match is on the way or not, but congratulations Razi and Tricky as well. But I do have information that both matches ended at the same time, so that is a very unique circumstance. I do not know who exactly got through here. Maybe Quantum, you can quickly get maybe Liquipedia is fast enough to update.
It's
but I
not fast enough, my guy.
Okay,
Wikipedia
so
is still not loaded. I don't know.
okay,
All I know is that
Liquipedia, come on, give us some results. But no. But if I had to guess, it was Serotonin events, because I do believe that even last time I think they played against Glorious Esports in the semifinal, and they did come through as well. But for that. We will be going on to the break, and then, of course, then you will see who's in the grand final. Thank you for being here, but don't go too far. We have the grand final left for us. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. You're once again back with Trackmania World 2 E Regional number 2, and the long anticipated wait is over. We are here. The grand final is here, and we do have a result from the other match as well. It was 4-1 for Serotonin Events. Wikipedia, pretty quick still. You did a good job, so props to them as well for keeping everything going as well, and props to everybody who's behind all of the information. Of course, exclamation mark EU if you want to see the other match scores as well, if you are interested. But we have the grand finale. It is Serotonin Events, their second appearance in the grand final, and with Project Blue Lock being their opponent. Can they get it this time, or will they be denied once again? So it's a, I would say it's maybe I'm saying it a bit too much, but it feels like a battle between David and Goliath in some sense, because you have the Serotonin Events. Everybody knows Leon Matus grand final appearance now twice, but Project Blue Lock have been looking very good. They've taken down CC Prod, Vulnera, and Haedra. Very strong duo, not an easy task to do at the moment. Mint looked very convincing. They beat Mint 4-1 the same way Serotonin won against Glorious Esports. So I will say that it's all up to basically who has the mental game, who has the taste of victory more, who wants the grand final more. I feel like that will be the difference in this case.
And if you want to know, right, just how bad this revenge tour for Serotonin is, right, they've only lost 2 maps this whole tournament. They lost one to Ascent, they lost one to Glorious Esports. That's it, right? And that's only today. They went 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 yesterday through the group stage. So that one, very, very good for them. For Project Blue Lock, they went 3-0, 3-0, 3-1. And then when they came in today, got they 4-3 CC Mech, and then 4-1 Mint, as we just saw now. So they've lost a total of 5 maps compared to Serotonin's 2. So at this point in time, we have ourselves a very close match. And all things considered, right, if you're looking at it on paper, especially with how the last regional went, I think you're putting your Gamba channel points on, you're putting it on Serotonin. But there's a lot to be said that Project Blue Lock looking good, especially after taking down Vulnera and Hydra.
Yeah, I feel like it. Of course, it's me painting it as a bit of a David and Goliath. It's a bit of a gap, of course. A lot of people will be looking as Project Blue Lock as slightly the underdogs, but don't forget, these are Darkwix, for example. He's a very good quality player. He also, I do believe, if I remember correctly, I even remember he played, of course, in the Challenger as well. He has that taste. He has been there before as well. These are not players who are of any caliber, any low as well. These are some of the best EU players, and they're in the grand final for a reason. To everybody else who didn't make it, of course, a really good job as well. We saw a lot of good matches and everything, but it comes down to these two teams, and I feel like we might be giving Serotonin Events, of course, a slight edge, but what we've seen from Project Blue Lock, this could go all the way, or it could be a really short affair for either team. It just depends on the momentum, the mentality, and who wants it more. And in some way, I gotta think that Serotonin wants it more, because they lost it last time. You imagine you lose it again. You don't want that. You're more motivated than ever before to go at it and get that win that you deserved last time as well. But at least you felt like you deserved it. So we'll just have to wait and see once we get into the match. We still have a bit of time there until we get there, so you can hear us cool story Bob while we get to the pick and bans. But for now, at least you can hear our wild theories, what we can think of. But at the end of the day, all we want is a grand finale. We can get a final, but a grand. We want a grand final. I think everybody deserves it. All the players deserve it. And I hope it's going to be every single bit one of the best matches we're going to see today. I really hope so.
Yeah, I really hope so too. When it comes to Serotonin Events, right, their pace looks really, really solid. Now, it's when put up against Darkwix and Sam, right, they are looking slightly better. But remember what their issue was, right? Consistency. And Sam and Darkwicks, right? We loved that last match because everything was so close. So little mistakes were made, right? And so when you think about it, this game could be so very close, not because of the pace of both teams, but yeah, of course, Sam and Darkwicks are extremely fast. I just don't know if they have the same speed as Melio and Matus, but it's the consistency, right? That's what nearly cost Melio and Matus this time around up against Ascent and up against Glorious Esports. They might have lost a map to that. I'm not sure how they lost their one map, but it could have been to consistency as it was up against Ascent. So all things considered, right, this could be one of the closest of grand finals that we've seen all regionals for all of the regionals. Maybe not for NCSA, right? Those 100% Canadians keep on fighting to try and win it, but man,
last
it's
regional,
always close.
last regional was last regional for your Canadian pride was a bit more one-sided. Where let's be honest,
it was close in by heart, right? It was close in by heart.
But yeah, this time at least, EU has provided some of the most exciting battles in my. We've seen, of course, across all regionals. Even like, of course, we've seen a lot of dominance from MEA by F10. We've seen a lot of dominance from APEC region by Volby. NCSA has been Damascus Gaming, of course, but EU regional. There's, of course, that single elimination gauntlet that just now has given us. Well, first of all, this is going to be the first regional that won't have a back-to-back winner. So we are guaranteed a new regional winner, which is only going to make that the fight for the first seeds for All-Star and the promotion relegation even more closer than it probably could ever be. So that is something you have to keep in mind as well. There's a pressure as well, not only to win the regional, but to keep performing constantly as well. And with the likes of Ascent already out in quarterfinals, you are now just really licking your lips, like putting your hands together as Serotonin events, looking like, yeah, we got 6 points last time. Okay, it's okay. But we could be getting 17, and we could be taking the lead of the EU global point seeding. Because if they do get it, they are on 13 points, and that is a very good lead going into the last regional, especially since you've made 2 grand final appearances. Let's be honest, that is a remarkable feat, even with the gauntlet that we have.
Let's talk about what's on the line here, right? If you lose in the grand finals, you still get 5 points, right? TMWT points, right? Those World Tour points are very important, especially if you want to make it to All-Star, to the World Cup, right? All those things matter, right? Those points really matter. So 7 points for first place, 2 extra than second place, and 4 extra than third and fourth place, and 5 more than even 5th to 8th place, right? If you lost earlier on today, like Ascent did in the first round of the playoffs here of the quarterfinal, then yeah, you find yourself in a situation where you lost 5 points to whoever wins today. And that's huge, right? That's huge in the grand scheme of things when it comes to this World Tour. There's also a bit of prize money on the line, though, right? 125 euros and 175 euros, respectively, for the loser and winner. So there's still a bit of money on the line, right? It's just a little bit of extra incentive to get yourself a better score, you know? 50 extra euro in the pocket.
I mean, yeah, it's a good night out, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you are looking for the end goal. Of course, you want to win the little battles in between. Well, winning a regional in EU is nothing but almost like a full grand battle. If anything, it's literally a battle royale. If we want to put it in any sense of the way, single elimination battle royale. You just hope to God you get the right teams against you, and you hope you perform to the level that you have performed so far. And it is something I have to commend them. Like, to do this level against these players, we have to look at the names. You have the likes of Ki, Pustipaco, Vulnera, Haedra, Teska, Stus, Energize, Shenini. You had this is just scratching the surface of the enormous amount of names that are in this tournament. And to be the 4 players, the 2 teams left over is I think it's even more difficult to do than to play in TMGL and Challenger, because in Challenger, in some sense, and Grand League, you do have some sense of a second chance. Well, maybe one match didn't go so well, but the next one could. But in this case, one mistake, done.
Costs you
You're
everything.
out. No second chance, nothing whatsoever. You are stuck there, keck weight sitting. Wait, I'm out?
Yeah.
But this was only one match. I know people would want to see a lot more, and the double elimination would be great and everything. But at the same time, I have free time. Quantum has free time. I'm sure everybody, you have free time. I'm sure you would love to have EU Regional 24/7, but I'm sure there's gonna be, like we've said, with World Tour especially, there's can be a lot of changes that can be brought into as well. And I'm sure, especially with it being the first iteration, a lot of feedback is being taken. A lot of they can see like, oh, this is working. Maybe this could be improved. So you never know what we're gonna get. I mean, a lot of people were even skeptical at the time that with the regional one mistake with the check-in that nothing really was gonna happen. But they said mistakes happen. They admit it. But there's one mistake I won't give you, and that is missing pick and bans. And here we go, the grand final, pick and bans, and the Slippy Slides is out, so we won't get any patches slides. No flip of faith as well. It seems that they're going for a bit more of secure picks. Reps, back and forth. Okay, gyroscope, maybe not so. Parkour, God, they're shooting this. Agility dash, I can't give up even. We're already there. We've gone through every single map. Reps, back and forth, gyroscope, parkour, agility dash, and now a moment to think. What is the final map you pick? Slowdown, aero pipes, and freestyle. This could be very crucial pick if it comes down to this. Could be a winning map for you if you pick it. Could be a map that saves you and gets you to the decider. But where do you gamble? Aero pipes is already a gamble map. Freestyle ending? I don't know. Slowdown is always a close map. This is a very hard pick to pick,
Yeah, it is.
choose.
Honestly, do you risk picking freestyle narrow pipes just to possibly have a 50-50 at slowdown being the last map? I think like slowdown would be the perfect last map, but do you risk picking, let's say, freestyle? That way arrow pipes is the last map, right? It's scary. We'll see in a few seconds here. What's the pick? And it is freestyle that gets picked. And the 50-50 between arrow pipes and slowdown gives us slowdown. And I think we did need a little bit of a slowdown there because after the back and forth, everyone knew what they wanted up until these last three maps here. And of course, freestyle, we saw what it can do to you, right? Especially for Project Blue Lock. They look pretty solid on it, all things considered, but they still made their mistakes. Maybe they're afraid of it, but they still picked it anyway. And luckily for them, slowdown is the last map. Luckily for us, I should say as well, right? Because arrow pipes, I don't know if we'll have as many close rounds on arrow pipes as we will have on slowdown.
Yeah, but I will say that I think it proves something. The way they pick those maps, that shows confidence. Your pick, you are going for it. There was no hesitation in those first five maps. It went literally just boom, 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 boom. Picked five maps are there, and only the sixth map, in this case, Project Blue Lock, decided to take a moment to think. Where do they want to end? At least get the sixth map going. It could, like I said, it could be a map that is very important in the grand scheme of things. Sometimes those maps you want to set aside, maybe some comfort picks or some maps that you know you're going to be comfortable on anyway. But everybody, this is the moment. Serotonin event with Melion Matus, Project Blue Lock with the Dark Wicks and Sam TM. The EU Regional number 2 Grand Final is going to start in just a moment. We get a quick warm up, and after that, the show will start. The moment these players have been looking for, it now boils down to this. So, Quantum, take it away.
Man, not eating, not drinking, not even getting out of my room as I woke up this morning has all been worth it up to this point with these amazing matches that I've seen. Let's see if we get another great matchup here, and I hope it is, because Serotonin Events has looked very, very solid and deadly. Let's see if Project Blue Lock can answer the call. Melio currently in the lead. Darkwix and Sam just behind him, but they get overtaken by Matuz, who goes from last up to first, back down to last, and Melio gets overtaken as well. It's so close in the top three here in the podium positions. Only Matuz can really be said to be in last place, but he's catching up, and he's back into this pack as well as Sam takes a nice lead, but he goes a little bit wider, so he allows Darkwix to get into first place. And then Matuz, with a better line through into the looping, he'll grab the lead, right? And now Darkwix is in second, and Melio's in third. Sam is in fourth, and he's far behind now. So it all comes down to Darkwix as he now fights with Matuz and with Melio, and they'll fight for it. Matuz keeps it ahead of Darkwix, and he will slightly be ahead into the finish. Melio comes in third. It's a 2-1 win for Serotonin Events. If this is how this matchup's gonna go, I'm all in, baby.
Oh yes, indeed. If that is the taste of what is to come, that is the perfect scenario for a grand final. But of course, we cannot get carried away too early. Of course, with reps being the map that it is, that identity is always looming there. It's very easy to clip if you want to push, and these teams are pushing to win the regional. So even under pressure, as soon as I say it, we see Matus touching it, trying to go, taking every single inch of the map, but this time thinking a bit too much of the wall, clipping and losing almost a half a second. And now we see that the Darkwix and Sam are in front, currently in an ace position. Melio looking to deny, and he needs to deny because an ace is everything as you wanted, and Darkwix makes a huge mistake trying to go for the optimal speed and hits the corner there, allowing Matus to now come into position. So it's now up to Sam to mitigate the damage. Can Melio once again get ahead and get first place? Sam trying to deny them. He's at the moment in first position, but he goes a bit wide. He has to release and gives away the position, and Darkwix comes in third. Matus also making a mistake. So after all of that, it's a draw. It's just a draw. And we are 3-2. Holy moly.
Oh, wow, what a game this is set to become, man. And all that just for a draw. And we'll see many more draws, I am sure. As, my goodness, this is clobbering, right? This is side-by-side fighting from both teams. As Darkwix has a slowish start, he's behind by 2/10, and he might already be out of the running for this one, because Sam, Melio, and Matuz are starting to get further and further away from him. It's now from a quarter of a second to 3/10 of a second as Sam starts to fall down from Melio and Matuz. As I pointed out earlier, they do have better pace, but it's come down to their consistency. Can they stay consistent? That is the big question. Melio and Matuz through the looping. They're a 10th ahead of Sam and 3/10 ahead of Darkwix. Can they keep it together? Melio gets some airtime. He'll get overtaken by both Project Blue Lock players, and Matuz now is the only thing that stops them from acing this round, and Matuz is perfect, but not Darkwix! And so the game has taken another turn. Serotonin Events now have a 2-point lead.
Yeah, and you can see we are getting to the fine margins. Every single player is going into the identity basically neck and neck. But in this case, just pushing a bit too much and going wide on that pillar block there, it just makes him go into the water there on the side, and that decides the round for Project Blue. But it is not over. It's a 5-3 scoreline, and we've seen bigger comebacks than at that event, and even by Project Blue themselves. So definitely not worth counting out yet, especially since they find themselves in the top 2. But everybody's so close at the moment. This is just constantly the picture we see of this match. Nobody's even allowing anybody to get an inch. Look, we are literally neck and neck, only a 10th separating everybody. Sam does get a bit of an awkward line, does lose a bit of speed, but into the looping we go, and we are close to each other as we can be. So now it becomes again a situation for the identity. What do we get this time? As we have a good overview of Sam, can he get it clean? Who will risk it a bit more? Who will go for it? As Darkwix does go for it, but he clips the inside, and Melion Matus coming for the ace. And that is exactly what they're looking for. Their map pick, ace, to put it themselves 8-3 up and only 2 points away from the track point.
Oh man, it's now a 5-point lead. That's not what Project Blue Lock were looking for. They were looking for at least a round win there, and Darkwix was pushing and pushing and pushing, and he pushed a little too much, risked too much, and gained too little. Oh man, instead of still being at a 2-point deficit, they're now at a 5-point deficit. They're looking down the barrel of a first track loss here as Matuz and Melio are looking strong once more. Sam again behind by about a tenth and a half now on Darkwix, Matuz, and Melio. And look at that, he's completely clipped out. He had to risk a bit more to try and catch up. He just could not do so. It's all down to Darkwix now. He needs to win this round to at least make this a 9-4 game. But if he can't win it, it's going to be a round win for Serotonin on events, unless there's a big mistake, and there is. Matu's out of the looping. He makes that big mistake, and Sam now can fight back. He's still behind by 4/10 though, so it's still a large margin to catch back up on as Darkwix leads the way. Melio in second place. Darkwix doesn't make that mistake. It is going to be the draw that I imagined it to be at the start of the round. 9-4, and Projet Blue Lock need themselves 2 aces in a row to win the map. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, and that is the story of telling. It might be 9-4, but let's be honest, it has been a very close matchup so far. It has been defined by just one mistake, either in the identity or in the end, that defines the scoreline. So 9-4 it may be, but everything to play for. Both teams have the capability to ace one another, and especially Project Blue, who need 2 aces, as we see a mistake by Matu starts early on. So now Melio is in the position who has to deny the ace. Because if we go to an ace, we go to the 9-7 scoreline, and we know that that is the scoreline where no matter what happens, we will have a winner. So Melio has everything to do, and Projet Blue have everything to win in this case, and also everything to lose. So in this situation, do you push? Do you take it safe? In Melio's position, you have to just go for it because you cannot allow for the ace. And he seems to be pushing for it as well. He's almost overtaking Sam, but who has the bigger balls? Melio does push it, but it seems that Sam and Darkwix do get the ace, bring us to a 9-7 scoreline. And now can they do it again? They need a back-to-back ace to steal the track point away from Serotonin Events. And it seems to be happening to them constantly. Serotonin Events get to a comfortable position, but then it sort of starts to slowly slip away. And in this case, if they get aced, it slips away again.
Yeah, but this time around, right, they had a 5-point lead. They had a massive cushion, right? And this one was a mulligan, all things considered, right? They tried their best to push it, and they really wanted to push it. But at this point in time, right, they had that point advantage. They could let that one slip. It didn't really matter as much as this round does, right? And so for Sam and Darkwix, they really need to push this one. Well, Darkwix did push, and you know what? He pushed a little bit too hard. He's behind by 6/10 now on Melio and Matuz, and he's going to need something incredible to happen if they want to win this one out. Sam is in the perfect position. He's in the lead, but Matuz is very fast out of this looping. And look at this. He's taking the lead. Sam and Matuz fighting side by side as Melio still keeps the rear up in third. But they both need to be perfect here, Serotonin Events, if they want to win this one out. And that's a mistake out of everyone except for Melio. And Melio will win the round and win the track for Serotonin Events as Sam and Darkwix fail to make the comeback happen here on reps. We go on to track number 2 with Serotonin Events up 1-0.
Yeah, but we have to keep in mind, of course, well done to them as well. But remember, the pick and bans, it was very confident pick. So Serotonin Events taking their map. It was a close affair. 11-8, it was very close to being the other way around. But now we go on to back and forth. Projet Blue Lock's pick and everything to play about. This is a map where both teams are good. Yes, Projet Blue Lock did pick it, but Melio and Matus are definitely not any way bad on this map. They are one of the fastest players on this map as well, so Project Blue Lock have everything to do to win this map as well. And they need to rely on some of that inconsistency that we've seen from Melio and Matus as well. But again, the Darkwix and Sam also, of course, now I'm going to say something very obvious. The less mistakes you make, the easier it is to win. But with the start that Melio had, that is absolutely the opposite of what you want to do. So now Darkwix and Sam looking to deny Matus, who's doing everything in his power to at least keep it to a draw. Very good lines here, but they will overtake him. They will have a lot more speed because Matus went for an inside line. Who gets the 360 nicely? Everybody does. Everybody gets the nice gear as well. But can Sam get the turn? He can, but Matus doesn't. He goes too much inside. And this is exactly what you want to see from Projet Blue Lock. 1 and 2 going into the identity, you do have a bit of a leadway. So I assume they do know this. It is a good idea to sometimes just to go hard on if you're playing out of, to just check what is the gap. So you know at least you don't have to push it too much. It's a 2-second gap and they probably know it as well. It is a clean round. Ace to take it. 56-6 by the Darkwigs. That is a very good time to start you off. And Melio and Matus, they are fast on this. But if you start making mistakes, that is where the weakness of Serotonin events is showing very clearly.
Yeah, exactly. So 3-0 now for Project Blue Lock off of this start. Looking good for them to start us off here. It is their map pick after all, right? Do keep in mind, blue team always picks first in the pick and bans, and red team always picks second. So this is the map pick of Project Blue Lock. And Serotonin events here, they're going to need to steal this one away if they want to take it. It is back and forth though, so it is a tighter game than a lot of other maps could be, as Darkwix and Matus fight side by side here. And Sam in third place will get himself up into second after Darkwix gets himself all out of shape and he's down into last place as Melio tries to overtake Sam as well as we head into the identity. It's very close. Ooh, bad turn there out of Sam. And so Melio's gotten really, really close. It does get a bit scary here. If you are Sam, you need to keep this man behind you or ahead of you, I guess, in this kind of identity. But look at this. Melio's so close. It's very, very tight, but Sam keeps it just well ahead, and they keep their 2-point lead. Well, it goes from a 3-point lead to a 2-point lead, but they keep it. They keep it.
Yeah, this is very important. At least Sam making a very good round there. He wasn't able to deny the first place, but he was able to keep his second one. And Melio, he doesn't seem to be having a good time with the start. He's constantly behind at the moment, 2 tenths this time, so it's not as big of a mistake as the previous round. So he's now in contention, but it is very important to keep up. Make sure you keep the speed here. We've seen a lot of players trying to go for a very high line because it's better to jump higher so you can get the 360 done and get a nice gear for this part. And you can see the difference. Sam needing to go for a bit of an awkward line, loses a bit of speed, and we have a draw position. Everybody's going neck and neck basically into the identity. So let's see who's willing to brave and go closer to those edges. Sam goes a bit wide, so that is not what you want to see. But Matus and Melio are trying to attack the Darkwix. Darkwix is going a bit on the inside. He will have a better line. Will he be able to hold it? And indeed he can. It is a draw for this round. 56, 6, 7, and 8 basically by all players. This is a very fast pace. But in the end it boils down to a draw and it's 3-5. Still Project Blue Lock in the lead.
Yeah, Project Blue Lock happy to keep this lead. Happy to just keep the draws coming here. All they need, though, is for Serotonin events to not get themselves an ace, right? So they need to at least have one player in first or second place at all times. They'll stay happy at this point as the Darkwix currently in the lead. Melio is in second, Sam is in third, but comes down to this jump here, and, well, no one comes all out of shape, so lead will stay retained in the favor of Project Blue Lock. And in fact, Melio does catch up to the Darkwix, but so does Sam. So everyone's side by side here as we head into the identity. Matus, though, is the only one that's not in that fight for the win, as Melio takes over, actually, for the lead. Sam and Darkwix, though, second and third place. They'll be happy with that, but it's an ace! It's an ace! It's a mistake out of Melio! Oh no!
Oh,
Oh
not like
no!
this. Not like this. That is the mistake you dread the most. You know it doesn't happen that often, but as soon you try to go as tight as possible, but that is the worst thing that can happen on this map in my opinion. Like, you get everything clean. He was on a superb time as well, but he just goes a bit too tight and he hits the finish block and he hits it and gets a nice parking spot, but not across the line. So now they have to push themselves even more because they're 3-8 down, and now they need to go for a few aces just to roll back because it's only 2 points that Project Blue Lock needs. So it's now a case where Sam has made a mistake, so it's looking good for Matus and Melio. But the Darkwix, he's not allowing it, and I do believe that Melio made a huge mistake. He slowed down quite a bit, so now Matus needing to at least deny the Darkwix to at least salvage some points from them. but the Dark Witch does not falter, goes in first place, and we see that Melio comes in third. Sam did make a bit of a mistake throughout the identity, but it's a draw. It's a 4-9 scoreline, and the only way Serotonin wins now is 2 aces in a row. They have looked to be able to do it, but there's always one member of Project Blue Lock that has denied them the case.
You know, this is the exact same scoreline that we saw in reps, but opposite, obviously, right? This is the opposite scoreline that we saw on reps. And if Serotonin events here get themselves an ace, it's the exact same setup, right, that happened last time around. But that's going to be tough with Melio down in last place, completely clipped out, completely out of shape. Oh my goodness, that looks like a rough one there as Matus is in the lead. But does it really matter? Darkwix and Sam in third and in second and third place. Melio's behind by nearly 7 seconds. They would need massive mistakes out of Projet Blue Lock here to get back into this one, stay alive on this track. Otherwise, it will be 1-1. And at this point in time, it will be. Ladies and gentlemen, Matuz might have won the round with a 56-3, but
Oh my
Darkwix and
god.
Sam win it out. And so
56.3.
3.
Holy moly.
He did his best, huh?
Yeah,
He
that is
really
the
wanted to win it.
fastest time I've seen in EU Regional. 56.3. I mean, props to him. He wins the battle of the times, but Project Blue Lock do get their map win, and but a very nice time. I will say that much. That is probably the fastest time I've seen in EU Regionals or any regionals on this map. So, hey, man, that probably is at least a regional record for him. I mean, you can add that to the showcase cabinet, I guess.
Man, that is crazy. What a time. But it's not enough, right? If only getting a really solid time, right, gave you more points. But that's not how it works, right? That's why it's 2v2, right? Because it's not just about you. It's about your teammate too, right? And that's the difference, right? When you play single player games or sports, right? Where it's all about you, right? If you make a mistake, you're the only one to blame. But in that case, right, Matuz drove an incredible time, right? And his teammate just was not there to help him put it away, right? It doesn't matter what kind of fastest time you pull out, right? You must have your teammate next to you. And that's really what matters the most, right? It's not your end time, it's where you end up and where your teammate ends up as well. Because it's not just about you. As Sam now fights with Matuz as Melio's clipped into the wall, and the Darkwix is 360ing all over the ice here. They're gonna, well, keep on crashing, both of them, as Sam and Matuz are gonna 1v1 themselves on this gyroscopic ending here. Let's see what the identity brings as Sam goes a little bit wider than Matuz does. So Matuz does climb back a little bit, but look at Sam here. His identity. Oh, both of their identities are terrible. Both of their identities are terrible. It was looking good, and then neither of them gripped. Sam still wins the round. Matuz gets himself second place, but a 57-7 winning? Huh? In grand finals?
What
on
did you say about?
Gyroscope?
What did you say about it being important where you place, not what your time is? I think you literally set up the round to exemplify that you don't need to go fast. It's the placement that matters, and that was a case where every single person had a taste of Gyroscope. And again, we see an early mistake. Melio is not having a good taste of. I feel like he's had a lot of mistakes on a lot of the maps, especially early on. So he's put Matus in a very difficult position, or at least I have seen Melio a lot of the cases behind. But again, now it's up to Matus to deny the worst case scenario. You really want to get these points on the board. A draw would be very good at the moment, at least to keep the scoreline very tight and close in this case. So now let's see, can Matus hold it? Matus, if I remember correctly, we did see them play Gyroscope, and Matus was absolutely unstoppable here. So let's see if he can keep that trend going. So far he's going really well, and he does it very nicely. And it is going to be a 55-2 by Matus. It's a draw for the round. And I'm having flashbacks to the game where Matus was the final boss on Gyroscope. Like, this man has some of the best pace I've seen on Gyroscope, at least from the EU regionals, and he's showing it right now. And let's see if the Project Blue Lock can withstand that.
Here's the thing, right? Is that wasn't even a fast time out of Matus, right? For his standards, anyway. He's shown up with a 54.9 before, right? Twice, actually, in the same game, and then did a 55.1 right afterwards, right? This man is on a mission when it comes to this map, and he is definitely the final boss of Gyroscope, I would say, when it comes to any of the regionals. So let's see if he can pull off another great time. Melio was also able to do a 55.2 earlier on in the match up against Ascent. So let's see what kind of times these two are cooking up here, as Darkwix is only behind by 6/10 of a second, but it's not going to be enough if both of these guys are capable of gripping on this dirt, which they do perfectly. 55-0 and 55-2. Now, what did I just say? They're capable of even faster. Can you imagine coming up against this? You get aced. Yeah, sure, you're still down. You're only down by 2, but aren't you scared now? Right? You see that and you're like, they could do that during rounds consistently. We need
Yeah.
them to crash. We need them to make mistakes now, because if you're Darkwix and Sam, you do not have that kind of pace, and it kind of shows.
Yeah, it's just something that we've seen on Gyroscope. It is Serotonin Events map. Once they get, at least so far, if Melio gets through the start, it has looked quite impeccable by the two. And if anything, Matus is just unfathomable. Like, I have to commend that he's putting in the work here. Like Project Blue Lock, you can see they're pushing, they're giving everything they got, but it's just not enough. They're doing an exceptional job. In any other case, these rounds would go their way. But against Melio and Matus, well, we'll have to see. Identity, everybody going side by side. It's gonna come down to the wire,
It's
but
an
it's
ace.
but it's an ace after a round where everybody does a sub 56. And what did I say? Project Blue Lock goes for an insane round. In any other case, it would have been enough. But here, it was an ace against them. And that is why Melio and Matus are a dangerous couple. Once they get going, it is very hard to stop them.
And you didn't even mention the fact that Melio was in last, right? Melio was in last by like 2/10, and then he comes in with a perfect slide at the end. His line there was so good. He goes from last to first, right? And of course, if either of Project Blue Lock's players do that, right, we'd be chanting the same song. But man, Serotonin events are showing up and shutting up at the same time. Another 5-point lead here on a map, and all 3 times here, both teams have been capable of getting 5-point leads on their own map picks. And when it comes to Darkwix and Sam, well, it's going to be a little bit tough to keep them in check, as that's a 55-2 out of Melio. He snipes the Darkwix from even getting a 4-point deficit instead of a 5-point deficit. Again, 9-4 the scoreline. What is this?
Yeah,
How does this keep happening?
it's just at this point, by Project Blue Lock, you just have to face it. I will commend them. They've done an exceptional job. Like any other case, they've done really good. And they're showing they're consistent on Gyroscope and giving everything they got on Serotonin Event. But we are talking about thousands of seconds in the end. And Serotonin Event so far has gotten the better end of the stick here. And it's just Million. Matus did make the mistake on the identity, a first of a few, but Melio was able to keep it in front, and we see that Sam and Darkwix are behind, and it's looking to be the map pick win unless something miraculous happens in the end. Matus and Melio are looking to secure their game, so let's see. Point of view of Sam, will they get it? Sam tries to push it, doesn't get a good line here, but it's not enough. Ace for Serotonin events of 55.1 for Melio, and a win on their map, on their track point 12-4, and it is 2-1 in overall scores. And the scoreline might look like 12-4, but when you saw the rounds, again, deceiving. It was as close as you can get on Gyroscope, just it was the better side for Serotonin events. As we go to parkour, we haven't seen this map in a while, have we, Quantity?
No, we've not. We've not seen parkour in just a little bit, man. And all things considering, Project Blue Lock must win this one, right? They lost on Gyroscope, right? And that was a bit expected, all things considered, after seeing what Serotonin events could do up against Ascent, right? What were Project Blue Lock going to do up against that pace of Matus and Melios? But on this map, it really will come down here to Project Blue Lock and their pace. And if they cannot keep Melio and Matus at the brink here and keep them in check, it's going to be GG, no re. As Melio and Matus currently in the lead, Sam trying to get in there as well as Star Darkwix, but they find themselves a little bit too far back. 0.2 of a second behind is Sam, and 0.4 of a second is the Darkwix. That's a mistake out of Matus. He's going to need a reset here, and so Melio, he's the only left one fighting. And so let's see if he can keep Sam and the Darkwix behind. It all comes down to this dirt here. Make sure that you get as much dirt as you possibly can for the most speed possible. And look, Darkwix, he got a lot more than Sam, but oh, he clips as he heads into the identity. Somehow he's still alive and still able to do it? Huh? Despite the slowdown? I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, he actually hit the front left wheel on the border, but somehow is able to keep enough speed to still make it. Nice yep sign transition by Matus, but even I am baffled. I've never seen anybody. He literally hit the wall with his front wheel, was able to just casually continue, make the jump, no issue. If anybody else was in that position, they probably would have flipped upside down, game would have crashed, and probably all kinds of things all side along. But he keeps it going, and at the end of that, we still on a draw. And Melio is Melio hopefully won't be. Well, I do believe it was Matus who made the mistake at the time. I'm even trying. It's hard to remember when they're so close. It's so hard to remember who is where. But at the moment, everybody once again close to one another. No mistakes early on. Everybody's going for the quarter pipe. No jumps around. Look at that. Everybody's separated by less than 50 thousandths of a second. This is as close as you're gonna get on parkour. Matus not with a good exit from the bobsleigh, but the Darkwix touches the dirt on the outside, so now it's up to Sam to deny Melio. So let's see what we get. Will it be a draw? In this case, they're going neck and neck. Melio goes for the lower line. Will he have speed? But not enough. 13 thousandths of a second. It will be a victory for the Darkwix because Matus made a mistake. I did miss it in that time, so it's a victory for Project Blue Lock. And it's not over until it is over. The finish line is where it ends, not necessarily on the identity.
No, exactly. You do need to get all the way to that finish block. And, well, there's many ways to get there, but there's a lot of ways that it is slower as well. As Melio slams into the wall, that's one way to get slower to the finish block. So thank you for bringing that to show and tell, Melio, as Sam and Darkwix here are in the lead, looking to take Matus out to Ace Land, looking to grab a 4-point lead here over Matus and Melio. Serotonin events, though, they need to stop this from happening. Matus needs to get in between Sam and the Darkwix. In fact, if anything, he wants to get up into first, and that's what he's done. He's taken the lead, and Sam, he's gone more inside, but Matus landed earlier. And so with a better identity, a more risky identity, with a little bit more speed, Matus draws out the round.
Yeah, exactly what you want in that position. Your teammate makes the early mistake and you have the pressure on your shoulders to push to avoid the ace, and he does exactly what is asked of him as well. Denies both of the players and keeps the match going relatively well. It's still a 4-3 affair between the two. But I'm sure Project Blue Lock were looking to get the ace, but not quite enough. They were pushing it, but not as much as Serotonin events, of course. And now we get to see another round unfold for us. No slide outs on the ice, but as soon as I say it, well, not a slide out, but Melio definitely making his acquaintance with the border of the block there. So now it's again a 3-horse race, and look who's there to deny it again. Matus looking to do the same job he did in the last round. Can he do it? Sam falling a bit behind, so he has to lose a bit of speed. Matus looking to go for that extra speed. Can he do it again? Darkwix this time getting a bit further away. Can Matus capitalize on any mistakes? Not this time, as Sam does come in. But it's Melio who gets third place. Sam made a mistake, so it went from a victory from Project Blue Lock to a draw yet again. So it keeps on going. It's 4 rounds, and we are at 5-4. This could be becoming one of the longer sessions we've had on a map. But we'll see how it goes. But so far, 4-3, 4-5 is the affair between the two.
Yeah, it's very close, and it keeps on getting closer and closer. Unless I don't think there's a way that we get a 9-4 scoreline. No, no, no. There's no way we get a 9-4 scoreline actually. So, all things considered, no more Groundhog Day, right? No more seeing things double or even triple in our case here, as Serotonin Events at least keeping this one closer on Project Blue Block's map pick as we continue down here. Melio trying to win it out over Sam, but Sam has a good lead over Melio, and in fact, the Darkwix is going to overtake Melio as well as they head onto the dirt now, and it's perfect from Sam and the Darkwix. They're looking strong. They're looking to ace. They want to make it 8-4. It might not be a 9-4 scoreline if they do this perfectly, but 8-4 is very, very good.
Yeah, that is
And
exactly what you want. This is what you have been hunting for the last 4 rounds, but every time one of the members of Serotonin Events was able to deny it, or if there was just a hint of a mistake on the identity, but this time you come clean, you come strong, and you deliver. And Project Blue Lock are looking to get their map pick once again. It is an 8-4 affair. Victory will suffice for Project Blue Lock. An ace would be just an icing on the cake, just a bit of an overkill in points, but that would be securing the track point for them as Sam finds himself a bit behind, but that is perfectly fine. As you can see, he does have a bit of a wider line, so it allows him to at least get a bit more speed, as now we get a switcheroo in the standings. We find at the moment that Matus again in 4th place, but you see 3 cars neck and neck, Darkwix in front, so it's now up to Sam to perhaps take a few positions here. So can he do? The Darkwix gets a really bad injury, so it's now neck and neck between all 4. Who gets the ending? Will it be a counter race by Serotonin Events? It's a close affair, and it is an ace. So all of that preparation for a beautiful setup for the win is now diminished. It's again a 1 point gap, 7-8. And if Serotonin Events gets another ace, it's all of a sudden a map yoinked away from Project Blue Lock, who look to take it with a lot more comfort than they do now.
yeah, but you know what else we could see? We could see a 2-1 win here, just a regular win for Serotonin Event, and we could go into overtime, right? Draw after draw after draw. I mean, to be fair, it was a really close affair so far, so good. And I mean, all things considering here, I mean, I could see Melio and Matus doing it. I don't see how we could get another ace though, because the Darkwix, even though he's behind Sam, is looking very solid right now in second place, just side by side with Melio. Matus, though, lost a little bit of touch. So unless Sam touches the wall here, ooh, that's really close, though, between Melio and Sam. As Matus actually catches up, he's looking to ace. He's looking to bring this ace. It's actually going to get really close, but not close enough. Sam keeps it together, and I cannot, for the life of me, get a caster curse. I say things, and they come to life. I don't know why. I just have a new power. It's not caster cursing, it's caster bringing, I
Well,
guess?
it's basically a yin yang situation. I bring in the
The curse.
demolition derby. You bring the script. Clearly, you are just
True.
feeding off of it. Okay,
True,
you
true,
can
true.
go. You can throw it out the window. We don't need you to tell what is gonna happen in this round. Okay, we want some surprises here. So let's see the round that could determine the winner of this map. Everything on the line, and Starkwix is at the moment finding himself a bit behind, but we see it constantly. We are getting closer and closer. Serotonin Events is in the lead with 1 and 2, but it's a close affair. We are going into the identity already here. If you, oh, everybody's pushing the very edge of the dirt. Who's gonna get it better? It's gonna come down to the line with Sam being third, but this is a winning position for Serotonin Events. On there's mistakes, and there isn't. And Serotonin Events takes the map pick for Project Blue Lock, and it is a 3-1 affair now, putting Project Blue Lock in a difficult position. It looked to be their map win and a 2-2, but now they have to win every single map going forward to win the grand final. And if you're Serotonin Events, you are going into this match, which is, of course, an interesting one. Agility Dash of all things. I mean, this is again anybody's game, so all cards on the table from now on, I'd say.
Man, here's the thing though, right? Is that they were down by 4 on that last map, and they come back and serotonin events, right? You did say it a few times, right? Where they go down a lot, right? They grab the lead and then they fall down, they falter that lead. But you know what they have that all the other teams in TMWT regional EU haven't had so far? Clutchness. This team has clutched out whenever they've needed to, whenever they've been asked to clutch. They have come up to the plate and have clutched, right? And so at this point in time, if you're Melio and Matuz, you've got all the confidence running through your veins. And if you're Sam and the Darkwicks, you are scared out of your skin. Serotonin event are on game point here, right? One more map and they win it all. They win the regional. And if you're Projet Blue Lock, you need to win 3 maps in a row, including this one, which is a Serotonin Events map pick. As Sam tries to stop the ace here, he is getting ahead of Melio, but Matuz is a quarter of a second ahead of Sam, and Melio goes for the re-overtake on Sam as well, and so Sam finds himself and his team down in an ace formation. He doesn't want to get ace though, and so Melio will fall back down as Sam goes for the overtake once again. As we head towards the identity though, this could all come undone here for Sam, or for Matuz in fact, as Matuz, will he get this perfectly? He looks to be good. Same with Sam, same with Melio, same with the Darkwicks. We start off with a 2-1 victory for Serotonin Events, and now they're 8 points away from victory. But what do Project Blue Lock have to say about that?
Yeah, we'll of course have to wait and see because the Darkwicks did have an early mistake, so if he cleans that up, of course, then we are looking to get a very close rounds on Agility Dance, which you don't get quite often. It seems that, of course, these players are very well versed in all of the maps, and it seems Agility Dance, even with its endurance-like pace and mentality, it is not proving to be a tough cookie for them so far, as Melio is gotten himself a very commanding lead, already 2/10 ahead of everybody, including his teammate. So now it's a chase for Project Blue Lock to catch Melio, avoid Matus overtaking, and making sure that this doesn't go from bad to worse. Nobody's opting to go for the speed slide there. Fair enough. I guess they're not in the full speed community, but each to their own. Neither am I, so I wish I could speed slide. Somebody please help me. So here we go. Sam and the Darkwicks trying to chase Melio. Here we go. Who has the better start here? Oh, Sam does go for the inside line, but it's not enough. Matus finding himself. Oh, but the Darkwicks gets a very awkward clip right before the identity. So now it's up to Sam to again avoid the worst case scenario, which is an ace. And Sam goes for the Air France strategy, and it's an ace for Serotonin Events. Ain't no way that's the way you go. And this is looking to be the slow downfall of Project Blue Lock. Of course, it's not over, but those are the rounds where you cannot make mistakes. And with Serotonin Events having clean identities, this is looking a very uphill battle for Project Blue Lock.
Man, if you're Serotonin Events, you are halfway there. But last time around, right, Project Blue Lock had a 4-point lead. Serotonin Events came back. They clutched it up on parkour. Can Project Blue Lock do the same? The Darkwicks, though, again, with another mistake, finds himself down in last. He's down by over a second and a half, I would say, at this point, as Matuz and Melio fight with Sam once more. This is just a repeat of the first and second round, except this time Sam is in the lead and not trying to stop an ace from happening. Instead, he's trying to make a draw happen, of all things, as Melio's just on his behind. He's slightly catching up, but it's still only a 1/10 of a second, as Matuz is also there, right behind by 2/10 on Sam, as we get towards the road border with the water. Looking good for Sam. I should have called it the poolside border. What am I talking about? As Sam is in the lead still, but Matus has more speed. Look at that. He's got more speed. He's taken the lead. Sam has fallen down into second place. It comes down to the identity. Who can risk it more between Sam and Matus? And right now, Matus with a big lead, but Sam has more speed. It's going to come down to the ending, and he crashes. Sam crashes. It's an ace. It's 8-1. It could be over. They're down by 7. They need to be perfect from here on out, Critty. It cannot go any other way. At this point in time, they need 3 aces. No other way about it. They have one more mulligan, and they can't even lose a round. It needs to be a draw or a round win. That's the only thing they can do other than an ace, and it can only happen once.
Yeah, and it's looking like the loss on parkour is now the big factor in the roll down for Project Blue Lock. They're still trying their best, but it's just proving to show that there's a reason why Melio and Matus picked this map as well. It's not over yet, of course. There is still a possibility for these things to happen. We've seen miraculous things happen before, and with the identity that is agility, that has everything still up in the air, but now it requires perfection from Project Blue Lock, and Melion Matus, of course, are not players who are easily going to let something like this go. It is 7 points, the biggest gap we've seen so far. So here we go. Sam goes for a wider line for more speed, but Darkwix falls behind, and Matus and Melio are in 1 and 2. These two players have been unfathomably fast, and Darkwix falling behind. So the only thing, and Sam clips as well. So the only thing to save Project Blue Lock here is an absolute crumble from Serotonin Events. Here they go, Matus, Melio. Melio has an awkward line, but that's not gonna be enough, as your EU regional champions are going to be Serotonin Events. GG to them. 10-2 is the scoreline. They remedy their loss from the first regional, and now they get their redemption, a victory in the grand final. Congratulations to them as well. Project Blue Lock gave a very good fight. There was very good matches as well. But Serotonin Events, there are a reason why they are the favorite, the reason why they were in the grand final before, and once again, but this time the outcome is for them.
Yeah, the outcome's very different. This revenge tour from Serotonin Events, right? I mean, thing is, they came in to the first regional. They looked sick. They looked awesome, and they lose to Ascent in the grand final, right? Now, this time around, they only lose 3 total tracks. That's it. During the whole regional, in a single elimination bracket, they lose 3 tracks throughout 6 games.
That is
6 matches, you lose 3 maps. There you go, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1.
Yeah, that
Crazy.
is insane.
And they clutched when they needed to, right? Agility dash. Every single time they had the opportunity to ace, they did it, right? Every time that the mistakes happened for the Darkwix or for Sam, right? They took advantage. They took full advantage, and I think that's what was missing out of the arsenal of Project Blue Lock. They were missing the clutch.
Yes.
They were missing the advantages that they were given by Melio and Matus. They were few and far between, and even when they did happen, they just could not capitalize.
Yeah, I do believe that parkour was the breaking point there. It was their map, and after that, it looked like they were relying on their map picks to go up against Serotonin. But once that the back of the camel broke, that is where it ended, and it showed as well. But still, fair play for all of the players who played in the EU regional. Serotonin Events is going to be the team to beat in the next regionals, but it is something that we'll have to keep in mind. Again, well done to everybody. Thank you all of you people who joined in Twitch chat as well, and everybody who watched as well. Thank you to SRK for being the MVP of the Trackmania World Tour as well. And from me, Greedy, and Quantum, we all will bid you farewell, but tonight is the main event, so a grand league to come, a lot of storylines there as well, so don't keep waiting for too long. In an hour, we should see a lot more action, 1 or 2 hours, but have fun, enjoy your evening, or wherever you're from, and until we meet next time, goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.